No.
Okay,
I technically haven't taken the operations one yet.
There we go.
Okay, I think we got it.
Got
Is
it?
that a different one?
That's the GM.
Okay, so,
Those are the
and he
extra
doesn't
GM.
have the operations.
Did you give one? Do you want one?
Yeah, I'll take one.
Wrong answer.
Yeah, no, see, there you go. You just said, nah, never mind. It's not worth it. I mean.
And then you have the, you have two operation managers.
We have,
No.
No,
I-
GM
you have
and-
two?
Well, no, because.
Oh, yeah,
these- They don't have them.
Yeah.
I'm just being a mother.
Sorted yet.
oh, yeah. Yeah, they were hot off the presses. Like.
Quite
minutes
literally.
ago.
hot off the
We
press.
just got them from the attorney, to be fair. so.
And unfortunately, both printers that we used are.
Are really pretty. They're doing a great job.
Okay.
It must be my
We're
eyes.
5 minutes past, so why don't I go ahead and call the meeting to order? At 3:35. And, we're gonna do roll call, but I just wanna call out really quickly that we have Mike Baker and Janice Baker listed on the agenda, but we actually received their resignation on, was it Friday? Thursday or Friday? Anyway, they have officially resigned, so we have 2 vacancies on the board. And then I will let you do the rest of roll call.
Already, Doug Mendenhall,
Here.
Michaela Hemerson here. Natasha Atkinson here. And Donna Steele,
Here.
Kathy Dewhurst Prairie.
Here,
All right.
CVC.
And
Yes.
Ready, see?
we have for him. All right, so let's move over to the Pledge of Allegiance. Natasha, do you want to do that? Sure.
I really have to stand up.
Yes. For our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
yeah, every time I sing.
And then I looked it up and other special districts, when they're all online,
Yeah.
play a video. So then just play a video, like most
Yeah.
people like the John Wayne version. I don't know what that means. I didn't look at
That's a
it,
good
but
idea.
I'm just telling you that's
Because
what they
it's
do.
very awkward.
Very weird.
The first time I was online and we did it, I did not mute, and then I messed everybody up in the room.
It
So.
looks like all weird echoey. Yeah, so that's what most people do. Did everyone get one of these? I don't think
No.
we did.
I didn't get any. Okay. So how many pages was this?
65.
65.
Oh, so this is the whole thing? Oh,
That's the whole thing. So,
okay.
and there's a lot of,
Okay.
area that's just words.
And only half of this is related now.
Okay. All right, so we'll move over to agenda item number 4, elect a new vice chair. So Mike Baker was our vice chair. We received his resignation. We have to fill the vice chair position, so I will entertain nominations for vice chair. You guys have to nominate one of the two.
All good.
So nominate yourself?
All right, Doug has nominated himself. Are there any other nominations for vice chair?
I'd do it as well. But I'm also not gonna fight against you. I'm fighting you doing.
I guess I may as well join that club. Huh?
Oh my gosh. Three-way race.
That's fun.
Now what we should do to be really interesting, you and I abstain for the vote.
And then they just vote for themselves. I don't
Over and
know.
over.
Again? Well, do we have any discussion about the nominations before we take a vote? I'm thinking maybe you guys all nominated yourselves. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit of why you think you would be a good vice chair and.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think that I have fully invested in all things board and am interested in making sure that the transit district is around and here in 6 months, like you are as well. And so I think that I would like to participate in some of those conversations regarding some staffing and long-term things that are different for this agency. So I'd like to participate in those conversations.
I just feel that it took me 6 to 9 months to actually get my feet on the ground.
Mhm.
And that with Michaela and I, for one, having the most experience on the board,
The most
That-
tenured.
uh, yeah, that I should step up and take that role.
I just placed, I've seen what's kind of gone on here and, certainly don't, want to be pointing any fingers at this point at anybody, but dig into trying to make things a lot better. I think a lot of the problems might have been, putting too much responsibility on one person or not providing enough support
Mhm.
staff to do all this. And so I think whatever we do going forward is we have to make sure we have adequate support for the staff that has to execute this. So, you're doing an awful lot of stuff for probably not that much money. And so, that's a very difficult, it's a lot easier if you're working for federal government, we got tons of money coming in, and got all sorts of resources. This is a lot bigger challenge. And I think it's been difficult, and I'm probably very good at understanding risks and assessing risk and making sure that we're going down the right path. It might be that I take a little bit slower approach. Because you want to make sure that you're kind of touching all the bases. And it's not easy. So I would rely, have to rely somewhat on all of you, because I'm not the most experienced person in this room, that's for sure. Obviously, there's other folks that are more, but I have the drive and the energy to do very good things, and also want to work closely with funding agencies, both the ones that we have been entertaining and maybe other ones, the new ones that and doing some things. And the last thing is really having a commitment to people that don't have much. They really need these services. Can't forget about that. And I think about North County, up where I reside. Is I worry about, there's not as many people there, so they don't, this is the demand structure goes, well, we can't spend all sorts of money servicing 3 people, sending out one bus. And so I imagine that's a difficult thing, but there's ways to do things that you can serve the public, and I think we should do that, as well as take care of all the people in Roseburg, obviously, but it's, it would be a fun job, but whoever gets it, I will support 100% and learn, and that's I'm all for that, so I hope I can help and help you guys.
All right,
Thanks.
awesome. So I'm looking through this at whether or not,
You can actually nominate yourself.
well, I'm not gonna nominate myself.
No, not you.
Whether or not,
Can we nominate?
no, you guys, I think you guys can nominate yourselves. And I think that everyone does have an equal vote. I'm looking at whether or not I am required to vote, because I don't want to have an appearance of favoritism towards anyone making this decision when it looks like it might be a 3-way tie. But let's go ahead
That's
and,
kind of a crap thing.
You can abstain.
okay.
Oh.
Can you abstain?
You can according to Robert's rules, but I don't know about our bylaws.
Yeah, I don't know the
Uh,
intersection.
Yes,
When you have a conflict of interest, and this wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily,
it's not really.
not necessarily a conflict
Yeah,
of
we could-
interest.
Mhm. And let me look through this really
Well, if
quickly.
you're not allowed to vote, then I feel that I should be accepting offers.
At least you're honest about it. Yeah, right.
You do ever work in Chicago?
My ex had family connections
know
to
the
the
answer.
mafia in New York.
I don't know. It doesn't specifically say, so, okay.
Then
I know, by Robert's rules, the chair
can
can
abstain.
abstain, but I don't, and this does say that if it doesn't say, then Robert's rules applies, but.
Right.
Let's go ahead and go through it. Otherwise, yeah, okay, go ahead. Who do you vote for? You're voting for yourself.
I'll vote for myself.
No pressure, Kathy.
I know. I'm very
Weird at all.
conflicted in this vote, because I have utmost respect for you, Doug, and you, Natasha. I also respect that John comes in from a completely different perspective. And I think only because of that, because I think the fresher perspective, and you're on the executive committee and you're in an important spot anyway. And so I think I am gonna vote for John very, I guess apologetically in a way, you know, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
That's fair.
All right, and I'm gonna abstain since the decision's made.
What about Natasha?
Oh,
you
you
voted
voted
for
for
herself.
herself. Okay, all right, I did not think we were gonna have 3 people run for this position. I think last time it was sort of like,
Somebody do it.
all in.
Yeah.
Do we have,
I throw it
do we
to
have a
Michaela,
blood
too.
pressure cuff to see if somebody's alive?
Yeah, and I was not expecting that, by the way, so, okay, well, congratulations, Dawn.
Thank you.
That means that we do not need to do an election for the executive committee.
Nope.
So, but.
Is vice chair automatically?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes,
That's right.
yep, that's what it says in the bylaws.
Chair, vice chair, and one more.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So there is another order of business, though, that is not in here, but it has to do with elections. Appointments, whatever. We are not going to have a recording secretary in less than a week. Because that is covered under our bylaws, as the general manager, or, let me see, where is it in here? Oh, okay, the recording secretary or designee shall call the roll, recording those present or absent, and assist with orderly completion of agenda business in keeping with Robert's Rules of Order. And where does it say? Oh, I just read it in here. Where is it, Cheryl? Oh, right here. The general manager or designee shall serve as the recording secretary for the board. Oh, wait, no. Oh, recording secretary or designee. So we can designate a recording secretary when we do not have a general manager. So we need to designate a recording secretary. And I know that is a big job, but
Not me.
I'm wondering if anybody is interested in filling that position. It would be taking minutes, of course, and then, roll call. And
Roll call video.
And creating the agenda.
And the video.
And what?
Video.
Doing what with the video?
Editing, usually that's how I do the minutes and then posting to YouTube.
I can do that.
Okay. Do I have any other nominations for secretary?
I would just say we should nominate her for like saint or something, or accepting the role.
Don't know about that.
So no one else wants this position?
Nobody else is jumping at it.
Okay, well, I guess then all those in favor of making Natasha our recording secretary while we're looking for a new general manager, say aye.
I,
All right, got that done. Was there anything else we needed? Oh, I'm gonna move actually agenda items 6 and 7 up, just because our financial workshop is gonna take the bulk of this meeting. And it's just easier to get this out of the way. If there's no objections to moving that. So I apologize that you guys have not had an opportunity to look at these contracts because they literally just came in from our attorney right before the meeting. So I haven't even had a chance to review them. In sort of thinking about how we can manage this process of interviewing and finding, the best candidate in a short period of time. We've been doing that sort of just as a board, and we're having to convene to be able to have those discussions. We had some concerns with one applicant who is in California right now, that he may not be able to attend the board meeting, but would be able to attend on Zoom, like those sorts of things. And I think it's important for us to have flexibility in being able to interview people. We're not necessarily going to be able to schedule all of those interviews during a board meeting. And it just seems like it's a little clunky. So I was thinking, it would probably be best just to form a 3-person subcommittee for the purpose of conducting these interviews and reviewing applications and making, recommendations to the board. Of course, the board can also needs to review the applications and yes, and be fully informed about that. But I think we can accomplish more if we have a 3-person committee working on that.
That would be the first interview then, with the 3,
Mhm.
and then a second interview with the whole board probably for. or-
Maybe, but I think the purpose of this is that it might be difficult to schedule it into a board meeting, so it would sort of be for the purpose of taking that legwork out of it for the board and relying on the committee for a recommendation. What do you guys think?
Is the board gonna come up with a, framework for, like, are we gonna ask the same questions for each candidate? Are we
That
going
would be up
to?
to the committee to decide, I think.
So the committee will
The committee
carry
would-
everything.
Yes, and the way that the executive committee works, and I'm thinking this would probably be the same, you have 3 people. A simple majority is, if you guys need to vote on things on how to move forward with something, you make that decision with at least 2/3 majority, so. If you guys are on board with that, and I will listen to any discussion you have, it does appear that I can create a subcommittee with the consent of the board. So I can't make a motion, but I can create a committee. Your approval. I don't know if that was written the right way in here, but is there any discussion, any feedback on that?
I think it's easier with 5 people than it was with 7 to schedule, not
Mhm.
easy. I'm curious if people don't want to be part of that committee. Okay, I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm very interested in the applicants.
yeah. Okay. Does anybody else have a strong interest? in-
I'm very interested in that too, and I
Okay.
think that's pivotal that we pick the right people.
Yes, I
And
agree.
dig into, really dig into them. Good.
Is anyone else interested? Is anyone else not interested?
I mean, I'm interested, but I'm okay with having Doug take the 3rd spot if he'd so like to.
Yeah.
So I guess I would kind of like to be in the loop a little bit more than have you describe.
The committee can't hire anyone. It's
No,
just
no, no,
bring
I realize that, but-
recommendations and.
It would just kind of be nice, or, at least be open to hearing if I get looking at an applicant, if I have something that I feel would be, a perspective. I kind of like to think, even though it is you 3 that are talking directly, to have, it almost sounded a little hands-off, but that's
don't-
just my
Make
OCD.
sure your initial input is taken.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, the subcommittees, it does say that they shall keep written minutes and provide reports of findings and recommendations to the board. And then in our executive committee bylaws, it does specifically say, Let's see if I can find it.
While you're looking, we are talking strictly for the 2 interim positions too, so it is a different ball of wax. Cause according to the attorney, it looks like less than a 6-month contract at
Yeah.
most too.
At most.
I asked him to write it for a 3 to 6 month.
Yeah,
Cause I figured that would be about how long it would take for us to post it, generate interest, those sorts of things. Well, I cannot find it in here specifically, but it basically says that, committees are not formed for the, purpose of withholding anything from the board.
Right, right.
So
yeah,
everything has to be provided to the board. That's the reason why all of you guys have access to the executive committee investigations and things like that. There's the committee that's formed that works on the problem actively, but then all of that information should be available to the whole board. So that would be the same theory
Yeah.
here with a committee,
all right.
but it would just give us flexibility.
So well, then, I guess I would move to allow our chair to form a subcommittee for the purpose of interviewing candidates for the interim position of operating and general manager.
Ooh, good job.
That was. so
That was
good.
great.
Do I have a second?
That was a lot of words.
We're all very impressed. and got distracted.
All right, all those in favor of forming the committee, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Now we need to appoint those, and it sounds like we have 3 volunteers.
I would move to accept the volunteers from Natasha, from Doug, and from John to be the 3 members of this subcommittee searching for our interim positions.
Perfect. Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, we're done with that. So you guys have the 2 contracts.
Yes.
Committee. We need to find a shorter name for your committee, though.
We need to find a better printer.
Or else I need better glasses.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so,
No, it's off the mic for now.
So are we, at this point, not gonna take time to read every word, but we are gonna, as soon as possible, look over these contracts, or what are we doing?
well, the contracts, we don't specifically need to read over them, I don't think, during this meeting. We can, if you guys want to spend the time doing that. I think we can probably do that on our own.
Yeah.
Since the committee's formed anyway, I think they could make recommendations to have our attorney amend these things if we need them amended.
All right.
And then the other thing to consider is that this contract actually does not need to be finalized until we're ready to make an offer.
Right,
So we can move forward right now with interviews and things like that without having these details finalized, and we may have some negotiations that happen too. Because it's a contract, people might wanna modify some things in it. Okay, so let's move back up now to number 5, our financial planning work session. Okay. All right, Cheryl, are you picking that up, or are we having Sherry kick it off?
Let's see here. I'm actually gonna screen share a number of. Do you want to hit the to-do thing really quick as an extra agenda item,
What was the, oh,
the to-do list?
okay,
Because it's the first thing that pops up and that allows me to then close it. And with less things open, I do better. Okay, but I have to share, don't I? Okay, hold on one second.
oh, okay, so we're just adding, okay,
Adding an agenda item.
to-do
We're
list.
gonna,
This was, yeah, we meant to have this added, but
Share
there's just been a
screen.
lot of things.
Yeah.
To add to the agenda.
okay, so the to-do list was regarding things that need to be passed over. So log in to all systems, usernames and passwords. Most of the passwords and usernames are specific to the person. So it's your email address and you create your password. So what I've done is I've requested the process from ADP. They did just send that to me right as we were coming in here. It doesn't look too convoluted, but there is there are some requirements in there that we'll have to look at.
Okay.
So for the website this morning, I added Michaela as a user. And I just have added board chair as the user for anything that I'm passing over, because then as a board, you guys can decide what to, you know, who that goes to.
Perfect.
So,
Do you need the ADP form? I have one of those.
well, they
The
said,
admin access, blah, 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 blah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
have to add a new person
Yeah.
and add them as the owner
Mhm.
and then forward them
Yeah.
the documents from the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to
And I have
email
all
you?
that.
Oh, you have it,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Ring Central, Selena is a super admin equal to me. So, anything that I can do, I believe that she can do as well. Zoom, there again, I've provided that login to Michaela. Optus, we've requested login access
I
for.
actually just got it.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't logged in yet, but I just got it.
I got an email, but I thought that maybe there was something I needed to do as well.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
But he gave me a username and everything.
Oh,
so I'm-
perfect.
yeah.
If you got that,
I
then you're
got
good to go.
something.
Okay. AccuHealth, the test vault, Becky has access. And then Beth at AccuHealth, she's the one that grants access,
Okay.
and that would be based on your recommendation. EdStab is our fuel
Mhm.
and operations. I believe all three of them have access to that.
Okay.
Hartford, Becky has access, WHA can add users. Fleetio, all of the drivers have access, and then everyone that is upstairs that requires access, it's really simple to add a new person.
Okay.
Federal Audit Clearinghouse, that is one that they send instructions every time that they upload the audit. It appears that I will not be here by the time that they finally give us our audit, because they've delayed again. Umpqua Bank, so the board chair, you guys are gonna have to do,
What we just did.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
gonna have to do a resolution to remove me.
Okay. Well, actually, and we need to add John now.
Mhm.
So can
Oh,
we do
yeah.
all of that at the same
Yeah.
time?
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Okay, so I need that resolution for you guys for the board meeting on Monday.
Okay. Yes.
Did you wanna do it now? or you wanna wait till Monday?
Me.
What is it?
I think it's probably fine.
Do we wanna think about a team member who's on site so that you two don't have to be the ones who come for signatures at all times? I do check runs every week.
No, it's fine because we're gonna be making a decision on an interim
Okay.
soon. And I would rather just not have to add somebody then remove them 2 weeks later. If I have to come over here and sign checks for a couple weeks.
can't be on it because I'm. No.
Okay. Yeah.
That is not appropriate.
I
I will veto that.
Yeah, so John and I can just,
All right.
handle that for a second.
HRA Viva,
But we
both Sherry
need-
and Becky have access. Nextcom, Sherry and Becky both have access. Aflac, Sherry is the only one with access besides me. Vector Solution, which is the safe personnel training, Becky has access. Special districts, as you can request access at the link there. But I believe most of you have already requested that access. And then indeed, Becky and Selena both have access. Becky has the ability to post job postings. I'm listed as the owner of the account, and I spent a good amount of time going through there trying to figure out how to remove me as an owner or name somebody else as owner, and I didn't see a way to do it. No, but I promise not to post any jobs. And then the Faces FTA is the NTD login, and ODOT has to request that access. I would highly recommend, well, Sherry has access for the financial portion of it. I'd highly recommend Crystal as
I was just gonna
the,
ask, she doesn't have access?
to NTD
Uh-huh.
reporting? I don't
She
think so.
doesn't, okay, because she has been trained up on it now for a couple of years, so I agree with her.
Yeah, I've been working with her to get the right numbers. So, yeah, she understands the lingo. And, so there's that.
And that's not something that I need access for,
Mm-mm.
correct? Okay.
No. Definitely an operations, full operations kind of thing.
Okay.
Computer folder access. I was not sure which folders that you guys might want access to. But that's something I would have to request Tech to give you access to specific folders.
I think maybe they might just be able to give us like access to like your computer, like from the cloud, you know, virtually, like that sort of a thing.
VPN in.
Yeah.
Well, because, I mean, I'm trying to think of like how it's done in my work, but I do have, like, I get access to email to people's laptops, even if I wanted to.
Probably a VPN.
Yeah,
That's what I-
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we could
Yeah.
talk to
Yeah.
someone about it. So that-
Yeah. And then access to the executive assistant office, Sherry has keys. Determine a replacement for Title VI ADA. So for that, there is nobody that is fully trained for that. Cindy is the closest to trained that we have. She understands the process, she understands the policy and why we do what we do. She's had extensive ADA training to be able to process the paratransit applications as they come through and make the recommendations for approval on those applications.
And
So,
Cindy is she works at the
Downtown
downtown office. Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, that's what I thought.
yeah, and then Selena also has a lot of that knowledge. She has the training through a different mechanism, which was the past train the trainer training, which gives you the passenger interaction piece, the driver, passenger, and you know, what you can and can't do, what to look for, all that kind of stuff. But it does not give you the ins and outs of like Title VI, you know, reasonable modification, things of that nature. And then for the
Is
DA,
there training available to get people up to that level?
yes, usually, well, there is a, Easter seals, I believe is the one, but I've got emails that I can send to you.
Okay.
And it's not that expensive, it seems like it's like $400 and it's a self-paced kind of a thing.
Okay.
But you go through and do all the training to get qualified for the Title VI and ADA. And that is training that is ongoing that you take every couple of years because things change. Becky for DAPM, she is currently the DER #2 designated employee designated employee representative. Yeah.
Oh.
I was gonna say resident, I'm like, no, that's not quite it. But she also needs the drug and alcohol program manager training to be qualified, technically qualified. I mean, a lot of people do the job before they've ever had the training, and then they do the training and they come back.
I've been doing this wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, yeah,
sense.
there's a lot to it. So as I finish this, in process of building the agenda and all of the packet for this next board meeting that we're gonna have. I will put into writing just the procedure. So somebody can easily walk through, this is how you do it, and getting it noticed to news review, just the steps, so you don't forget a
That
step.
would be awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a little guide.
Yeah,
Can we go back to the other one really quickly though? Are you sure? So you're recommending that we make Cindy the DAPM?
no,
Who are you recommending? Oh, there's no one
That's-
qualified. I'm sorry.
Becky
Cindy's
is,
the
Becky's the
closest to
closest.
understanding the process. Lena's
That's-
next.
That's title.
So, oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Title VI and
pretty
ADA.
much.
That thing's sort of covering.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
But okay, so you want to make Becky the DAPM?
She's the only option at this point.
Okay, so we just gotta get her into training ASAP. And do we know when? they need
I
this
believe
meeting?
RLS provides that training online now. I would have to double check to be sure, but I'm relatively certain that's what I heard.
So what do we need to make her the DAPM?
Hmm.
What do we need to do process wise?
I don't think there's any.
She's already number 2, so we're done.
And so we need to designate another DER. Or no?
Oh,
Would that be
yes.
potentially, could one of our candidates have the qualifications?
Yes.
And then they could, I mean,
Yeah.
could that be something that we might be
Yeah.
looking at in our candidates?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
I see. So you're saying don't make the decision right now.
I'm kind of thinking, because we're trying to get an interim pretty soon.
I know.
Yeah.
Well,
And it might be,
Are
if we
we
don't have
good?
anybody qualified right now.
but are we okay if you're done on Friday? Becky can step into that role and we don't need a DER number 2 immediately. We're fine. Okay. Just wanna make sure.
So the reason that we would not need a DER number 2 at this time is because Becky is not considered a safety sensitive employee.
Okay,
Therefore, it doesn't taint the pool for her to be in the pool,
okay.
is my understanding. Of course, I've been known to be wrong. So,
Back to computer folder access. So are you going to ask this tech for a VPN? Is that going to be the request into your
I don't,
desk?
Yeah. You want my whole desktop?
I mean, that's the question, right? Like, somebody needs to have access to something, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the other option too is just having a computer,
having access to that too.
your computer's staying here, right?
Yeah. Change the password.
So I can reach out to SysTech, but we can also start there where you
Yeah.
can just get credential login information for your
Yeah.
laptop and then it'll be here.
And-
Yeah.
And then your phone, I'm sorry, going back to one. What is your phone used as the second off the blah, 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 to get into things?
Oh, it's not necessarily my phone, it's who I am in the system. So like ADP, because I'm the owner,
Uh-huh,
even if Sherry puts something in.
so it's not
and-
your phone number that's attached.
Well, only because I'm the owner of the account.
So when it moves
Okay.
over, it's coming over to. you,
Yeah.
So,
Right?
so that's my question,
And I
is,
can
is
turn that-
everything? Is everything represented there that currently is going to call your phone to verify that you're you? Or text you, or fill in the blank?
I believe so.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
And if I get a random weird ADP text, I'll know to call Sherry. And we'll go from there. But in the interim, I could also remove the two-factor authorization piece from my profile.
Okay,
For
Well,
the
do
rest of the
you
week.
use Microsoft for your authenticator app?
I do.
Okay, so yeah, you can remove those accounts from your authenticator, which would probably be good to do.
yes.
And then, but there are other ways of changing that. behind
There
the
are, I'm
scenes
just
too,
trying,
to make
like,
it
there's gonna
easier.
be enough
Yeah.
that's gonna be a pain, that if we can mitigate as many of these
Mhm.
nuanced things as possible, that would be,
Yeah,
that's the goal.
agreed.
It's-
So that, yeah, so, yeah. I had been asked to share that, so I figured that before moving on. That way, I'm gonna stop share for a second here. We can close that document. Oh, I hope I saved it.
Which one? This one?
Let me just. I can't, okay.
You can save as. There you go. Copy of copy to dos. That's what they mean it.
That'll work. Okay, now we can close it. All right, now we need. Not that one. We need. Apologize, I thought we had them all open. And there we go. Board. Meetings. Um,
Hmm.
This should open. Makes I think it should open. There we go. Okay,
You have it open on your desktop.
I do. But we want to make this to where Sherry can enter information into it. Or, yeah,
I have it online. I can.
well, I added a little bit to it. So I added the worksheet to this page. So this starts with your,
Right.
and then project
Yeah.
number one, project number two, and that I did them all together, yeah. And,
And then repeat, and then.
yeah. So one thing I did notice is I did not update this number here, so we'll have to do that. It's a lot.
I don't like
So-
your version of fun. I'm just gonna say that right now.
I'm seeing all the highlighted, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, all right, hold on, there's one more.
So this is not everything.
What is not
We
everything? Sorry.
also have financial planning work session, but we also have all of this. So we're going over.
That's a stiff plan. That's the actual
Oh,
plan.
okay.
That's,
Oh, to refer
That
to.
does make you feel better? Does that make you feel better?
That's the grant.
Going through all of this today, okay. Okay, that's better.
You're not gonna cry anymore?
So this is
You're
the
okay?
one
I already
that
feel like I'm just like,
I started working
you
on,
know.
and I
brain
don't know
fried.
if that would work
and
better
I'm
or
like,
not.
I
And
know.
I'm feeling a little bit there, so.
Yeah, well, I only did one because no point in spending a whole lot of time on it if we're not, if that's not something that's gonna miss.
Okay.
So I guess we need you guys' input, so
Okay.
do we start with a blank worksheet or? This I just went through and put for project one, task one. What we projected that we were gonna have here and let's see.
And then what our actual is down
Yeah.
below. Okay, so
And so you can start to see. This one looks like it's okay, because there's more money down
Mhm.
here. But there's way more match that's required for it. So those are the kinds of things we've gotta. Gotta look at, because we initially had projected this project for 260,217 per year.
yeah,
From the 5310. But with the change to Mercy, we reallocated some of that here to the call center. But the amount of match changes, and you can see that we thought we were gonna have about 95,000 in match, which would have more than covered it. And in actuality, there's only 29,000. But then when we go back here,
We're gonna have to walk them through it from the beginning.
I know, we're gonna go back and forth.
So,
Let's get back
okay,
over
this
here.
is good, but as we're going through this,
Mhm.
because I know that Sherry has some numbers that may be different,
Mhm.
right?
Yes,
So as we're going through this, can we have that conversation so we can try to figure out these discrepancies?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Cool. All right, so if we just start here with project number one, task number one. We know that project number one, the ODOT projection was $580,016. And we can see that that's actually what's coming in, 72,500 per quarter for 290,000. So when I took that initially, the difference between the 580,000 and the 834,000 that was projected for this project. This one doesn't have my math on it.
Well,
but go ahead.
Just so you guys understand, because you don't look at it every day. That assumed beginning balance, number 7, that line number 7, that's what we projected. That's what that's what we have projected in the plan. That's what we were hoping to receive.
Okay,
That's
and
not
that,
what we're going to receive.
did that include the 30% bump up?
Yes, that
Okay.
was that included the 30% plus up that Cheryl keeps talking about.
Okay,
So
And the
is that-
difference, so we are really going to receive that $580,016.
Okay.
That's what we're really projected to actually get.
okay,
And you see, even with the 30% reduction, it still puts us at 4,000 over what we're actually gonna get.
oh, I see, the 584, 308,
Mhm.
okay. So. How is that actual, though?
So what we're actually gonna get is the 580,000.
So, but then we have actual beginning balance, and then on that line,
Okay, so if you take each one of the projects that was projected to have an assumed beginning balance and reduce it by the 30%, then you come up with the actual beginning balance. We should have done this math at the beginning of the biennium. However, it did not come on our radar until the financial audit in March.
so, but I still am wondering, because at the end of that line is 584, 308.20, which is
Then
looking
580.
like it's actual, but it's not. You told me the actual is 580.16. Is that right?
It is.
So why are we 4,000 off? That's the question, right?
That's my question.
Okay.
I needed a better percentage and I didn't have that. I didn't take the time to do that. It was close. This was the beginning of my process. And when I saw
So
the
can we go and
difference,
correct that right now and make it the
Yes.
580.16?
yes.
And I don't know where things need to come off of to make that.
Okay,
Some of the numbers aren't actually 30% less. That's why.
Can we
So-
put actual numbers in there?
well, we don't know what we don't know, we can't project what that 580,000 is gonna look like over each bucket, because each bucket has a different amount in it. So Cheryl deducted it 30% from each bucket to try to bring it down to the 580.16.
Right. So
But
what would 31% be or
Well,
30.1?
could you just add another column there and just say,
So-
over, under, or whatever, and like adjust it? So that it comes out.
So
correct?
my question is,
This is
I
why I
think
want
they
to
all,
drive the drive.
I think they all talk to each other later,
Mhm.
so.
I have the same spreadsheet, but I have
Different
different
numbers.
differently, yeah. So I don't know. So my question is, I don't understand. First, why you would want to deduct 30% off of every bucket straight across the board. Because there's gonna be some areas that we might not use the money, and some areas where we really need to have all the money. And why you would just do a straight across, blanket across the board.
And even before you do that, I don't understand the 30%. I'm not understanding why that we, who reached 30% and why is this number, because this is the problem child.
It is, it is. And I am the one that put the plan together. And I did not, I was not planning at 30%. I thought I was planning at 20%, but we're looking at 2 years ago. And so I do not know. I would like to have a better answer for you. But I am not the financial guru. Hence the extra 4,000 there.
Well, but explain that a little bit, just so everybody understands, because I know we've talked about it a little bit. So you apply for a grant,
Mhm.
correct? And ODOT basically says, hey, listen, there may be additional funding
Right.
available. So when you're putting together your plan, make sure to put together a plan, and maybe if there's extra that comes in, there's extra projects you can work on, whatever it is.
So
you
if we
put
don't
the-
build in the extra and
Then you don't
extra,
get it.
right, and
Right.
extra is actually there to be gotten, you
So
won't
it's
get it.
typical government budgeting, that you're budgeting more than you actually, because you're hoping to get more, but there
Right.
isn't a guarantee.
Right.
And right now, we were hoping to get 30% more, or even 20, and we basically aren't getting either.
Yes,
So we,
and
okay,
what was
well, at least,
explained-
at least that.
So what you guys
Kinda.
need to understand though, is when we built the budget for this year, we built it off of what we were actually planning to receive. Not by
numbers.
Yes,
That's
not
for
what,
this year,
right,
but not for the
for
year.
last year, not for last year. Because we didn't know what we didn't know. We
Right,
budgeted based off what we were hoping to get. And then,
okay, so then
But
my
this year,
question to you would be, if these numbers aren't this, then why was I not provided the correct numbers?
what do you mean?
With the reduction, you're asking, why would we reduce it all the way across like that, and that those aren't the correct numbers? Because our budget is different, but if that's the case, then I haven't received this information. So that's why maybe you should drive.
I can drive, I can send you the information and then I can have you open it up, because I don't have access to share, not from
For
here.
instance, if we don't budget with a bigger budget, we're guaranteed to not have a possibility for a bigger
Correct,
budget.
so essentially the way that they do it is you take actuals today. You add 30%.
Right.
You then build your stiff plan with projects 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's your real money. I'm making up numbers.
And then you
7
have
through
two-
10.
you have extra
7
things that will
through
get the
10
windfall.
is, if we have the extra 30%, we're gonna
They're
do
gonna
these
get the
things.
windfall. So we
Yes.
technically, if we're doing it correctly,
Right,
we should not be over budget for anything.
until you hit 6, 7, 8, 10.
Unless we should
whatever.
just not have money for the little extras that we were hoping
that's
for.
exactly what happened.
That, right, okay.
Right.
The
I just
later-
wanna make
the
sure
later
I'm getting my
projects.
mind around.
No, I agree, because when I heard 30% plus up, I'm like, well, that sounds not great. Like, not a good.
Well,
practice.
Right, right.
But it's not actually a 30% plus up, it's additional projects that are added in that are probably not gonna get done. They're nice to have,
Well,
not.
but it's not always additional projects, it's additional money added to projects that we already are working.
So, but have we ascertained with this who those
Wait,
people
wait,
are?
more about that. Sorry, what? What does that
She,
mean?
she was saying that the 30% was for projects, like additional projects, but
Okay,
the 30% is on the projects that we are already.
so
planning.
you could get 30% more for call center and 30% for Reedsport, but not for DRTF and Sunrise. I think I'm confused, you've lost me. Sorry, more words.
Can I send
Yes.
my?
You drive, cause that didn't,
Well,
that went against everything that we,
it
yeah.
still to me is seeming like if we budgeted for what we need and we're hoping for extra for these other things, we're not really in the red then, because the other things just have to take a back seat this year, right? I mean, because technically, we don't have the money for Johnny's little whatever and Susie's little whatever, but we have the things to run our household.
Well,
Or am I being too simplistic?
No,
so this funding source is a payroll tax, and it is written into ORS what the rules are. The document a couple of meetings back that was provided about substantially compliant expenditures that talks about you can give money from one operations project to another operations project, but not operations to capital or vice versa. And so the thing that has been missed in a lot of the conversations is that these three projects, 5, 6, and 7, capital vehicle, building, and shelter, those are all reserve projects.
Okay.
So we've expended all of the capital vehicle because we received the vehicles and we also expended all of the capital reserve from, that was unspent from
From
prior
prior.
years, right? And then the capital building, in order to cover the excess in the cost of the vehicles, we took money from capital building, capital to capital, and put it into the capital vehicle, which then has reduced our capital building to the smaller number. But this number here, there again, the number that we were looking at was 544,000 that was supposed to have rolled forward. But the note here that I found was that there was actually only 470,736 left. So that's why I put the yellow reduction here.
So
And-
where did it go?
It wasn't there to roll forward. It was expended in the prior biennium
You already
And-
spent it.
and wasn't available to roll forward.
Jennifer's hand is up.
I can't see.
You have to go back to Zoom.
So,
Hold on, hold on. Are we not sharing?
Oh, we're not.
That could be the best.
Jennifer's hand.
Jennifer, what's up?
Oh, I was just going to say that, so this year ODOT, went before the OTA and did a rule amendment. So in the past, we had suggested that agencies add additional money in case there was additional payroll coming in. So you had a project that was, a designated like placeholder. And that way, if you get more money in, we can put it in if your plan has enough money budgeted for it. So let's say you thought that you were only going to get $500,000. You did your plan for $500,000, but because of the payroll that came in, it came in at $550,000. ODOT would only be able to give you the 500 because that's what was in your plan. However, with this rule change, it at the mid-year now, agencies are able to go in and add additional monies to current projects. So this kind of takes away that need for putting in that additional funding that you might get if payroll increases. So this biennium, we are advising that you put your money in based on what the estimates are given. Because if more money does come in, you have that opportunity mid-cycle to go in and add to projects that you know that you need additional funding. So that's just something to consider as you guys are going forward on your planning.
It sounds like a lot.
and Jennifer, also on those capital projects, because those grants now are going away, do we have the opportunity to move that money from capital to operations?
So according to the substantially compliant guidelines, that if a project is completed, then you are able to move with the approval of ODOT monies from a project that is completed to an uncompleted project if that's needed. So you do have to ask program services folks to get approval to move the funding. But if the projects are completed or for whatever reason they are not going to go, there are options to allow you to move monies, but you have to get approval.
But if the project, so bus shelter reserve, that's a reserve, but it's not a completed project, and it is something that's been building over years for a
The only thing
specific.
is on your project, on your actual application, you have to mark that as a reserve project. And I looked at your guys's just to see about the reserves. You did not mark that box. So those monies should be moved. They can go to any project going forward unless you check the box that says this is a reserve project to use in the future biennia.
So you're saying that all of our capital reserve can be now used for operations?
With the approval of ODOT.
You have to get approval of ODOT.
How do we get approval?
You request it by email.
Well, I would think that if we were gonna use our capital reserve for something that it wasn't intended for, that we would pay the chargers back to ODOT. You know, I mean,
Well, we have to pay
that's,
the charges back to ODOT anyways, don't we?
that's the elephant in the room.
Kind of, unless, RBTV figures out how to integrate into their system.
Right.
And that, in that case, we still do a payback to ODOT, but then we get to sell them and then we get
Get
that
the money
money
back.
from RBTV.
Mhm.
Well, there's an opportunity to sell the chargers, period, correct? I mean, the point is that we have to give the money back, not that we have to give the chargers back.
Correct.
So. We can sell them anyway.
Would they take them back?
Well, no, number one,
The-
we haven't tried yet, so we don't know that.
Okay.
We don't know the answer to that question, and we do need to answer that question.
Yeah.
We need someone to be in contact with the new company, it's Volvo, right?
Mhm.
That took it on. We need to be in contact with them and we need to find out if they will take the chargers back. There may be an opportunity to do that, and that would be the easiest solution. The other potential solution is that there are lots of agencies around the state that are trying to be compliant with getting electric chargers,
Right.
electric charging stations up. Because anytime you're redoing a parking lot now, you have to bring it up to standard, right?
And are they doing that whole thing on the coast now? That they're guaranteeing that they're gonna have charging stations up and down the coast? So we have right there, a good opportunity.
So we have an opportunity to potentially sell the charging
We said that
stations
in the last
to
newsletter.
many places.
Okay, so you sent me
I sent
your
you,
document.
I sent you 2 documents.
But Sherry, we probably need to work on this portion of, moving that money to another project, and we just need to request approval by email. Do you want to send an email requesting approval?
I can.
Okay.
Can that come from me, Jennifer?
I would think so. I would just include your board chair and vice chair on the email.
And then how much money are we talking here that's moving?
Did you open them both?
Yeah, I think so. Yep, yeah, here, I'm gonna let you, I'll let you do your thing. Or you want me to change places?
Oh, I can just, I can,
I was just gonna give you the maps.
that's fine.
Yeah, I'm watching it. Okay. It is my favorite. I have a great. I have replacements. for
Okay.
everything.
So essentially what Cheryl was trying to get at is we planned for this much money, 834,000. We are going to get this much money. So there's a deficit of $254,000, 710 in this project number 1. We have already expended for the first 4 quarters. We have already expended, well, let's get these out, hold on a second. This is I don't like the mouse. Okay, we have. We come down here, we have already expended $457,000, okay? So that leaves. $122,657 left for this project.
For
4
a
quarters.
year.
For
4
4
quarters,
quarters,
a
yeah.
year. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, this is where you need your worksheet though.
this one,
Uh-huh.
got it.
Because
So-
in addition to having expended most of the funds, there were
I
other
have
funds
somewhere
that
in
were
here.
built.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look at that, right to it.
Okay, so can we scroll up a little bit?
Yep.
The call center match, is this all the same?
Yes.
Okay. it's
Yep.
the Opposite, okay, so that's,
Was that in your packet?
Yes, so in the worksheet is in the packet, but then in your stiff plan,
Start that.
project
Drink
one.
drink your drink.
I
Drink your drink.
know. Can we get a coffee delivered?
So on page 7 of the stiff plan
Oh, what's
is,
that?
yes,
Yes, got it.
yeah.
I heard you.
So that shows you how the funding was allocated for this project. And
Call center, this past one,
task one, yeah,
got 42,726.
was actually allocated for FY 25.
Wait, what are we looking at?
Now we're at page 7 of the big packet. Is
Oh,
that under
big
sunglasses?
The
Under
one
the
that did not come out printed well.
Thanks. Page 7.
Yep.
Let's,
This is project one, right? Is that one?
Project one, task one.
yeah. So, for the call center, on the worksheet, I split it into FY 24 and FY 25.
Yeah.
So, for the stiff funding, that we're receiving now, that 42,726, that was for FY 25. There was 0 stiff dollars
Are we sharing
allocated to the, no, and you have to change every time you switch between documents.
I know, but are we sharing it? We are sharing this, right?
I don't know. Go back to it, go back to Zoom. No, and if you, okay. There you go.
Alright, so the 42,726, right off the bat, that's not the actual number because there's the 30% reduction. So that,
Well, that's where I don't agree, because I don't agree that we should just reduce it down evenly over all the buckets.
So where have you taken the reduction?
So where I've taken the reduction is over project. I don't like this thing. How do we make
I
this-
know.
can minimize
Better
it.
than that.
Or just it there.
This?
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah,
Okay.
try. Oh, there
Okay,
you go.
that's better. Where I've reduced it is I've reduced it over this project number 1.2.
that's the one I recommended that you give to DRTF and Sunrise.
1.6, 1.7. And 1.8.
1 point, go higher. I can't see the 1.6, 1.7.
Here we go, okay.
So.
So it's the
How
same, it
can we
matches yours.
reduce demand response?
What's that?
You said you recommended reducing 1.6.
That's, this one, this is preventative maintenance.
So
It's not just demand response, it's with preventative maintenance. And we're not using all of that. So to me, why not reduce it off of a bucket that we're not already using all of,
Okay,
you
so-
know? If we're using all of the other buckets, then I wouldn't reduce it all.
I wanna make sure Kathy's on the same page here.
Okay.
just So that we're not wasting time. Okay, so hers is set up the opposite, like this one's call center, but hers is a. So we're just looking at it. Does that make sense? Okay. You see how it's a column instead of a row?
Yeah.
Okay, we're just
Okay.
flipping it in our heads. Just to add another layer. Okay,
So
so with the demand response, though. Are we in compliance with reducing that, with not putting anything else in that?
So before we go there,
Okay,
can you pull up there's another spreadsheet. that is titled worksheet, right there, the one in the middle.
This one?
Mhm. So if we take the call center and what was actually,
You have to go up to the top
Oh.
and hit stop.
I know, because we're
the
filling
right.
it out as we go.
There you go. Then share the other
And then
one.
share it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Word worksheet to the left.
Oh, where is it?
There you go.
This one?
Yep.
Because we're having
Be a
this
mess.
agreement about the numbers, or what to agree on. one.
okay. So, it was projected for 0 stiff dollars for 2024, but they're all completely expended. It was projected for 53,100 in former STF dollars that were supposed to roll forward, that we found out had already been expended. So those dollars right there were supposed to be the match and any cushion necessary for the call center. And the call center was projected at 616,000. In actuality, though, if we reduce by 30%, that leaves the call center with 29,908 for the match. But when you look at the 5310 page of your packet,
Which which one?
Page 11 of 23,
Yeah.
exhibit A at the top. It was in the smaller packet.
so the mobility management,
Oh, in the smaller packet.
Yep.
yeah, that is
There you go.
a total of 89,528 in match. So regardless
Where did that
of,
come from? Say it again.
that's the 89,528.
Thank you.
To be able to match what's actually there in the call center. And we've already expended everything that we had for a match for that project.
Are any of these ones that we have determined to be, we'll worry about it after we take the things that are necessary, or in any of these projects, the ones that were supposed to be the icing on the cake, that we didn't have to spend money? Have we treated any of them like that, or have all of them had money already allocated to them?
So the only one I am lost here. So for project number 1, the call center task 1 is, it's fully funded, but not enough match to match the federal dollars.
I guess I'm still going back to the way I understood it. We have the budget, the 30% are for things that we might not be counting on, but in case we get lucky, we'll have. So have we
Well, that's.
gone
the-
ahead and counted on it? Then, you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, we did.
Unexpectedly.
Yes, we did.
Okay,
When it was-
that's where,
Yeah.
that's what I
When
needed
it was
to, okay.
Yes.
It's not a condemnation, I just need to get my head around.
Yeah.
So we have already, we kind of counted our chickens before they hatch in a way and spread it across
We-
everything rather than saving reserves for if we had
We
it.
spent money last year that we then pretended that we didn't when we built the budget.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And here again, it's
That's
not,
what happened.
there's no condemnation, it's just to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's, and it's huge. So, for those tasks 1 through 8 there, every single one of them, well, Sherry just pointed out PM is not
Mhm.
highly utilized, but that's a pretty minimal amount of money as well. And Mercy. So those 2 are the only 2 that are not being utilized.
Because Mercy gave notice last year and so that funding is available to move.
Right.
but it's pretty negible in the
In the
The
grand
scheme of things.
because this spreadsheet doesn't tell the whole story, because if you. Okay, even if you let, I can't do it like this. I can't use somebody else's work to tell
To
the story.
explain it, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. does
Well, it
not
is hard if
compute.
you're looking at it linearly and then need to look at it as a column, I guess.
I know, I'm
Well,
trying to
that-
flip
my
it in.
computer has to restart.
I'm
So I
looking
did
at
it a
that.
different way. Let's just open this one. I don't know if I can.
This is what I think would be helpful. Just because I think getting into the nitty gritty of all of these numbers and the fact that we have two sets of them and, you know, all of that. At the end of this, we're gonna have to agree on the set of numbers. But what we really need to decide right now is where are we cutting things from?
Right,
And what are we, how much money do we have remaining?
right.
I think that's what we need.
And yes,
We need to
and,
start with that, so
Yeah.
we know what we need to cut.
and what are your guys' recommendations for us to move forward to fix it? Because I'm guessing you both have different
Different
recommendations
recommendations.
about what we should be doing.
So here, I did just a snippet of like the projections. So these are all income for just this year. This doesn't include last year. So this is just, we had 747,000 on June 30th of 2024.
Okay.
ODOT's projection for what we're supposed to receive for this year.
No
And that
30
came-
plus up, just,
No 30 plus
Thank
up
you.
is this amount.
Okay.
1,870,000.
getting that.
that is the projection.
That's pretty close. We got a little more than that last year.
Okay.
Okay,
So. Then I have our federal funding here. Which is what we have left of our federal funds for the current grants that we're using.
And
And
that's
then,
guaranteed, because it's already granted.
yes,
Okay.
Okay.
and then all of these are projections based off of actuals for July and August.
and that was
Projected
before or
out,
after cut.
that was after the cut.
Thank you.
Is that before we lost 2 medical transportation drivers?
It's for July and August, and I did decrease this one a little bit. With the 2 being gone.
It'd be a long night.
So these are projections. Through the end of the year for those. And they're projections, they could change, because like Cheryl said, we
And the
lost,
medical transport, that's our income.
Yes.
this is our income.
Okay.
So. You have to understand, though, that this bucket of money, we don't have any other money other than stiff money. So that pretty much is all stiff money from the rollover.
Okay,
what
and
we have
so,
left
but
in the
this
bank.
stiff money is what we were just talking about earlier, that we can roll into another project. If ODOT approves it, when you send them an email, is that correct?
Not this.
Okay. Not the stuff we already have
This,
on hand.
so G is just what we can bank on.
G is what we can pretty much.
That
say.
says cash on hand, though.
This is what we had in the bank. On 6/30/2024.
On 6/30, okay.
Actually, it's what we had in QuickBooks, because I already did an accrual
Accruals.
for fourth
Got it.
quarter reimbursements and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So this is
Okay.
where we started out this year.
Okay.
These are all income. Now, the step 1, project 1, Cheryl and I think both agree that we only had about $122,000 left. Step 2, so this rollover is included in here. So it's money that anything that says rollover is money that we've already gotten in a prior year on our stiff plan that we have in the bank.
Okay.
Okay.
So that stiff number 2 in your spreadsheet, you show 0 rollover.
Not for number 2.
Oh, project number 2, not task number 2.
Right, project number 2.
Okay, but you need to also show how much of that we've expended of the rollover from last year.
This is what's left after we expended everything from last year.
At the total rollover for all of the stiff funds.
Yes,
Can
well,
you do anything you want with that rollover money?
No,
no,
You cannot.
wherever it's
Whichever bucket it's
allocated,
like
Targeted, there
you can move it around.
Yeah.
You have to ask ODOT, you can move it around within that project.
Gotta be related to that project scope, okay? That rollover money's gotta go to that project.
Okay, so. UPTD funds and the stiff unspent. This is what we have. So we have our money we have stiff money,
Mhm.
we have medical transportation money.
Hmm.
Federal funds, this all comes from up here, okay? So if you double click on this,
So UPTD funds and STIF funds are lumped together, which tells me that there's still a separation that needs to happen.
Exactly.
I have a separation in QuickBooks,
Okay.
because part of UPDTD funds also have asset money that when we've sold
Mhm.
vehicles at auction,
Yeah.
that money can only be used as match for other vehicles.
Mhm.
And so if I open up QuickBooks and I open up the job codes, you're gonna see that UPDD's money is separated in different
Mhm.
allocations.
So how much of our money do we have that can be spent freely? That's,
Exactly.
yeah,
That is a
That's
good bottom line.
That's the question.
Okay, so here's all the income, including our funds and the unspent funds. These expenses are all projected using actuals.
okay.
This is what I am projecting that we will have at the end of the year if nothing goes crazy.
Wrong.
Mhm.
Now, we have a building payment that's gonna come up this year. We've got that capital bus, that grant, that we're gonna get that one bus.
Which is the $27,000 match,
Right.
which is built into the budget.
Is it gonna be, that's what I need to have an answer for, is that bus gonna come in higher than what the grant is for?
I don't know. I handed it over to Randy. He's the one that's been doing the communication with them.
Because according to the grant, this is the federal portion and this is the match. And that match will come out of our funds because we have that asset money.
But we can't be in a position where the bus comes in more expensive than what we're planning for. So do we
I
have
don't
do
know.
we have a protection built in where that bus isn't just gonna be delivered to us at a higher?
We have not been asked to sign anything stating that the bus is going to be more expensive, and this one was ordered after the whole COVID rush. It was the next round of grants.
So if there is some sort of purchase order or something that I think, especially considering what just happened with our charging stations, maybe we should have our attorney look over it before we say, yes, deliver it.
Mm.
What do you think? I mean, I don't want to be in the same situation. And we have ODOT's blessing that we can get this bus.
As long as we
We'll
have the
the
match. Mhm.
And we
And
built
they've
the match
said-
into the budget.
Yeah, we will have, we did build the match in the budget.
They've turned on us before.
So I put the charger payback in here just to have it accounted for.
Okay,
So our
Okay.
total capital is 496,000. That's with the bus, the building payment and the chargers. We have a federal grant that's gonna cover 177,000 that will get reimbursed. We have 46,000 in our STIF plan that's built into our STIF plan. This is our money, our asset money that from selling the buses
Mhm.
or vehicles, and then. We do have that 6.1, that building rollover. That we can take the chargers out of, because that would technically be under that grant, right? That match money.
What is so that set of numbers you're looking at right there, where you're showing the federal grant, stiff admin, why is stiff admin in with the capital?
That's for the building payment. I mean,
Oh, okay.
that's the building payment only. We've always kind of accounted for it in the admin. I mean, we can account for it there, or we can account for it there, either bucket, it doesn't matter.
Okay, it just didn't make sense. That makes sense.
Okay. So that essentially takes this amount and it draws it down and makes it zero. Okay, anybody have any questions?
So where is the stiff capital building 6.1, the 252,000 going? Back to ODOT.
It's going back to ODOT.
Okay,
Okay, so building payment interest, why does it say interest?
General fund.
Oh, sorry. Well, It's the building
the code.
payment and the building payment interest, but we only have the building payment with the interest this time. Sometimes we have one that has the building payment with the interest, and then we have another payment later on in the year that's only like 7,500, that's just the interest. So we have two payments to,
But we're not paying that much in interest.
It's just,
Well,
it's just combined.
It's combined.
Got
Any other questions?
Not yet.
Okay. Under the admin, so this is the report that Cheryl and I use when we're doing our reports in office.
Okay,
So I've just taken it and I've just projected it out for like a whole year
Mhm.
instead of using just our actuals.
okay.
My first time.
What's that?
First time seeing it.
Okay. Let's see, so if I project out all of our admin, just admin, so this is just general manager, finance, HR, executive assistant, which is 0, and Crystal. These are the wages, payroll, and taxes. This is for the whole year. Now, I did reduce some of these buckets.
Assuming that we'd have an opening for
Assuming
four
that we,
period.
yeah, for maybe
Okay.
four pay periods.
So 2 months.
And then maybe at a little bit lesser than what Cheryl's making.
So that's for the entire year. Saving for pay periods. Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay.
You just took 4 pay periods off.
Yeah, but I
just
don't think
before
we
pay-
can take 4 periods off because we are going to hire an interim and that money's gonna have to come from somewhere and it's probably gonna come from that budget.
How soon do
So-
you guys think you'll have an intern hired?
2 weeks max.
You hope.
I know, that's the plan. The plan is to get somebody in here right away because they do need to keep things moving.
Yeah.
And as much as the board members love being here all the time.
Well, right now I've got to the good 100,000, so even if we pad in some extra.
I think for that too, for both the operations manager and the general manager. So you don't have the operations manager on there at all?
He's in a separate,
Oh,
he's
okay.
operations and operations admin.
I would honestly, if we're talking about building this right now, I would put that full amount in there. Yeah, I don't wanna leave us with not enough. I would rather operate off of,
Now, with the
Work
interim
people.
though, we're not paying them like a payroll, right? So we're not gonna have
No,
payroll
it'll be a
taxes and
contracted-
fringe and all of
Yeah,
that.
it'll be a contract, but, oh, so I see what you're saying. You don't have to pay, you don't have to add in the payroll fringe or retirement. Yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah,
I can
Do
follow
they
that
do
logic.
they have, benefits of medical now?
I don't think we're
Not
going to be
usually.
offering any benefits, nothing for the.
So then
So
that's just a flat.
It would be, but they may negotiate something in
That's fair.
to compensate for that too.
Well, we can, that's what Cheryl's annual wages.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So if you want me to put the full amount,
yeah, so 4 months was taken out of that.
no, 4 pay
Or
periods,
2 months.
2 months.
Sorry, okay.
Still, same, yeah,
Okay.
same difference. Same difference, honestly.
But I think the whole thing should be in there.
Just leave it in there.
Yep.
Yes,
Okay,
and then we know what we have to work with.
okay. So this is 4 pay periods. This is 2 months of payroll, taxes, fringe, and so if you're doing interim contracts for maybe up to 6 months, we could maybe have a little bit more of a savings in those areas, because I only did 2 months worth of savings
I
and
mean, we don't have to worry about payroll taxes. That would be good. So I would agree with you on that. Fringe benefits and retirement.
we also would not be
Never
paying
seen a
those.
contract that, I mean, I've seen somebody negotiate the wage higher
mhm.
to compensate for them going to market themselves to take care of insurance. But I've never seen us,
Mhm.
an agency, cover that.
Okay, so are you comfortable not adding anything back in for that, or do we need to increase the wages? of
Bolster
general
the
manager?
general manager.
I know that when they initially contracted me, they gave me benefits.
It was weird though. Yours is a
Yeah.
very weird situation where you're coming, like, you're literally just moving the district from one to the other. That feels like a different truth than hiring an interim.
What do you think?
He wanted to know if he could ask questions, and
I-
we're allowing ODOT to ask questions, you can ask
I
questions.
wasn't sure if it's rude or if it's okay, but thank you. I'm curious, why do you separate the payroll ledger with operations and admin?
Because it's the way our grants are built from the federal government.
So the,
Our
okay,
grant is built specifically
Okay.
for admin, operations, and then preventative maintenance for this grant, for this purpose.
so the director of operations is not considered on the admin side?
We're considered in the operations side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting.
Better for us that way.
I believe it, yeah, I just was curious because it's a different way of,
It is,
yeah,
It seems like you
it's
would,
different for a
you get
manager
very
to be at that
creative.
level.
yeah.
Yeah, it's,
that's
It's
different.
essentially gonna take every bit of our federal stiff and our funds,
Yeah,
and that
To
includes
make
our
it through
medical
this year.
transportation. To make it through the end of the year, but we budgeted it that way, we
Yeah.
knew that to begin with.
well, we knew we were in a good place.
we
when
didn't, yeah, we
did
didn't
our
think we
budget.
were rolling in it.
But we didn't know we were in this place, but
Jennifer raised her hand. Go ahead, Jennifer.
I just want to also remind you all that
If you-
your NEMT, while you keep calling it your money, is actually being propped up by federal funds because you don't charge any admin. You don't fully allocate those costs. So Sherry's time and whoever else works on that is being paid by federal funds to do the job to get that money for you all. So technically, that money is mingled with federal funds and should fall under the federal requirements. So you guys need to really look at fully allocating your costs so that you can separate that money out. Because the way you're
I
doing
need
it
to-
now, it's
I
not.
need to still hear from Rich Garrity on his cost allocation spreadsheet that he sent over so that I can fully understand it.
Yeah.
I've
And
emailed
I
him a
also
couple
want to
times.
just say something that ODOT did not throw you guys under the bus. We are required to make sure that you guys are compliant with your federal funds. And also, we have been helping you guys. We helped find a location for 5 vehicles that you guys could not afford. And if we had not done that, you guys probably would have gone under. So let's not beat each other up. We're all here for the same purpose. We want transit to be very good in Umpqua, in the Valley, in Douglas County. So let's not make snide remarks. I won't make any snide remarks, and please don't make any snide remarks about ODOT throwing you guys under the bus, because that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to help you guys make sure that you keep continuing to provide transit service. All right?
I agree. Thank you, Jennifer, for saying that. And I do, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge what you're saying. We are a partner with ODOT and we want to make sure that we're in compliance. Obviously, we have a very new board and, I'd just like to sort of put it out there that this board did not create these problems that we're running into right now. This financial situation was created by people who are not sitting in this room. And we have also had some very strong words from ODOT, and I would like to have a little bit of grace from ODOT for us to be able to partner with you guys effectively. And, for us to be able to learn these things and be able to feel like we have a partnership with ODOT, because like I said, we came into this pretty serious mess. And I think that we have people sitting at this table that are fully committed to making sure that Douglas County does have transit. It would be very easy right now for all of us to resign and walk away and wash our hands of this and not be dealing with a problem that wasn't created by this board. So we're committed to that. We are committed to a partnership with ODOT, and I appreciate you calling that out. We will be very respectful and come to you guys with questions, and I hope that you will allow the same.
So what did you guys do? So because we increased this back up to 118,000. That gave us a difference that I hadn't calculated in, so I had to. Because we only are going to have, so. Because the
The
STIF
numbers are
plan
the
is
numbers.
only gonna have this much is what they're
Yeah.
projecting us to get. I can't take it out of more stiff. We're already accounting for that. Because all of these numbers equal this, and that's all stiff money. So if I
Right.
add it to stiff money, then, you know, it's gonna make it wonky. So that's gonna have to come out of our funds. Whether it's NEMT or whatever.
Okay, can you say that again? I wanna make sure that I understand that. So we have no other option for that money except UPTD funds, or it makes it more complicated if we do.
Well, it puts us over on our projections of what stiff money we're gonna get.
Okay. So it's fake money.
We could, I could see, well, we don't have any more admin rollover money. We
Okay.
spent it all.
So what I'm hearing is we need to cut $40,000 of something.
No,
Okay, why?
because we had,
She has it built in already.
I have it
Got
built
it.
in. So it reduced
Okay.
it down.
Deal.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, we are getting so close to not any money in that bucket.
It's a good number. It's great. It's fine.
So these are all
Okay.
also projections,
Oh, I hate QuickBooks.
for the year.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
okay, I'm
Okay.
fine. I'm just being really judgmental, I'm sorry.
Does anybody
Well,
see
we
anything? that-
appreciate you doing all. of
Okay,
this.
wait, scroll back down, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You asked me then to look and wasn't
Okay,
looking because I
so-
was being judgy. Okay, thank you.
Advertising, these are
And,
costs.
and have we
So.
We have to go back to RFP for audit. I know I don't wanna change that number, but I do think that that's exorbitant. So I think when we go to the RFP process, that our audit should not cost us $40,000.
Yeah, I just got an invoice for 27,000, but they're not done, so I'm imagining we'll probably
Yeah,
get.
And we need to talk about that, like, very seriously, about the time.
That's what we
to get-
budgeted in the budget for it, so that's why I
But we
kept
are
it there.
doing our-
It could
leave
come
Leave it
in
alone. I think we
less.
leave that number alone, but yes. we
But our
do an
goal is-
RFP. 'Cause
Yes.
That seems absorbent
And
to
the
me.
timeline needs to be expedited on this, whoever wants the contract.
Well,
with us, I
whoever
think
wants
that
the
needs-
contract has to adhere to the
That needs to
rules
be
that
written
they're
in.
currently not adhering to.
Right,
Cause
What are we
they're,
hearing?
cause like huh?
What are we doing?
Somebody's coming in, so you gotta go back to where you minimized.
Oh.
Maybe I don't know where it is, I'm sorry.
It's
It's the little thing, but where is it?
just
where does it fit?
go to participants. at
It's
the top left,
Or in,
And then
There,
hit
there
hit
you
right
go,
there.
there you go.
There we go.
It's showing no one's waiting.
No, it's not there.
Did somebody put a chat? I don't know what that is.
What happens when you hit the talking? Yeah, nope.
This?
Yep. Yep, that one. Just kidding.
I don't know.
Maybe they stopped calling,
I don't know.
which feels great.
that was weird.
That was weird.
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense.
Cause they're like
Yeah,
stuck.
there's nothing in there.
I don't know.
Okay.
They would just be sitting in the waiting room. That doesn't make sense. Okay, whatever.
I don't know.
Anybody have anything that you think you want to change on here?
Oh,
So,
actually, hold on. That's a good point. We have been at this for an hour and
Oh,
45
for a
minutes.
break.
Does anybody need a break?
I mean, my watch told me to stand up, but other than.
I know,
that-
I think maybe we should take a short break. Are we at a good stopping point or do you want to finish?
Okay.
the
I mean,
part?
I think.
To answer your question, that looks good to me, but that's.
And
my
then we can
opinion.
start on ops and admin when we
Okay.
come back. So look at the admin really quickly, you guys. Do
Go
we
back
have
to-
any
go back to
changes?
admin and then scroll back down.
So let's look at the big ones, because those are the ones that really matter. Dues, membership fees, we know that it's gonna be that, right?
Yeah.
IT, maintenance and software.
Once again, we might be able
That
to
is
negotiate
actually-
lower, but.
I would put 25,000 there. I don't think, based off of the quotes that we've just gotten, I don't think that's gonna be adequate for this year.
Well, we have IT and membership or IT and maintenance across ops. We spread them out.
Oh, okay.
So there's
There is
more money.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is there something is there a roll up?
Not here.
Okay,
In the FY 24-25.
Mm,
not the way I want.
no,
Okay,
no, I did a,
Expensive.
yeah.
okay,
And I think under tablets and cell phones, we need to be adding more because I think that the board members need tablets personally
Tablets.
or something to be able to keep board stuff separate.
We have tablets already, but I don't, they're supposed to be going to our NEMT, our volunteer drivers, but we haven't gotten that all figured out, but we might have some excess. I mean, if some board members want them, maybe not all of them want them, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just think it's important for security reasons, probably to keep everything. You know, and then you resign from the board and you hand in your tablet.
And you can wash your hands.
And then you're done. But okay, other than that, I think it's fine. Vehicle and facility, what are those, just maintenance costs? I know
No, that's,
different.
so that's insurance,
Okay.
so our property insurance and then our vehicle insurance, so that's our property, we only budget the property under the admin.
Okay,
And then the vehicles are under ops.
okay,
That seems,
so we're at 5:15, 5:14. Do we wanna do 10 minutes?
Sure.
5:25? Okay, we'll come back at 5:25. Taking a quick break. Would you mind muting us and stopping the recording?
Where
She's
do we
like,
go?
sure.
Go, let's see, I'm gonna stop there. There, and I'll go back here and then.
Maybe stop
mute
it too.
Yeah.
And I don't want all
And
that.
start
I
video.
can't.
I know.
So I have to borrow that and copy it at work, where it'll do its job. And it collates and staples and does all the things that it needs to do.
All right, let's see, we're a little bit late getting there. It's 5:29. We'll go ahead and call the meeting back to order. And we were on operations. Here we go. The ops and ops admin.
So for our grant purposes, ops and ops admin are together.
Mhm.
I projected out our bus drivers based off of our actuals for the last couple of months, and that's been with our cuts.
Okay,
And then,
So do we wanna go back and negate that as well?
well, for the operations manager, not for the
this is
bus
just for the
drivers.
bus drivers, this section.
Yeah,
And then the operations manager, the only savings that I did was for 4 pay periods. That's,
So do we wanna make it
Months.
go back to what it would be?
I
okay.
think so, because we have that contract that we're
Right.
going to try to.
So just
fill.
take out the 14,000. If you go back, see where it's equal. Ouch. Yes, just take out the last half. There you go.
I don't have to do the same thing here.
The payroll tax.
Yeah, we can actually, you can keep that,
Keep that line.
Yeah.
Okay,
because we're not doing payroll tax.
Right, and the
Okay.
fringe benefits and retirement would not be, right?
$72,000?
That's not just him.
that's not just
Oh.
him, that's the entire, that's all of the bus drivers operate, that's.
like,
Yeah, I was thinking
what?
about-
Wait a minute.
You
did the wrong job.
The nice package he has there.
So this
So
is,
you're
this
just
is
taking
the
out.
operations manager, the 2 supervisors.
Okay.
Cindy downtown and Leanna.
So we might
This
actually
falls
be
in
able to
this category.
reduce that a little bit. Why don't we just keep it? just
Well,
so we
because
have
it is
some-
taking him out, yeah, at this
Yeah.
point, yeah,
Well, no, just for 2 months.
right,
But we are gonna have this contract for 3 to 6.
right.
We
Yeah.
could decrease the retirement a little bit as well, but.
Let's
I
just
think
leave
we'll
it,
decide.
because then we're
Okay.
planning for
Okay.
more.
So what does that put us then? That puts us at 45.
45,000, yay.
All right.
Hey, we're getting there, getting close to it.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, so
This
wages,
is our paratransit drivers. Which are the van drivers,
uh-huh,
3 of them. And then this is all of our demand response drivers.
Hmm.
And then we have all of their material and service, everything.
okay,
This is budgeting in 85,000 for contracts, which will have to be paid somewhat.
so
with
that's
our
for like
funds.
Reed Sport, is that what
Mhm.
you're talking
The
about?
RTF. The RTF and Sunrise, we've already expended everything that was put in.
Allocated
this
to them.
stuff. Yes.
Okay,
But the contract was for more because we thought there was STF funding.
Yes.
So it needs to be backfilled with some
With
of
our
the-
money, basically.
And so this is including a backfill or it is not?
The overall picture is including the backfill.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, IT is low.
This
it's
is
spread
spread
across
across.
It's
multiple,
spread
Yep.
across, yep.
Okay,
yeah.
So there's
We already-
20,000 here, there's another 10 here.
And
okay,
there's one
so
on
we
admin, too.
actually have more budgeted in than what we're spending.
And it was
Yeah,
in the
that's right.
managers,
Yeah.
managers
Yeah,
column
Cause we,
too.
yeah, we were like,
It's in there.
that's kind of low.
Well,
And in
based on
admin,
our current
there's
bill, I know
another
we're
17.
Right.
So there's quite a bit, it's just it's spread out over the different buckets.
Yes,
Okay,
we
so
might actually be able to.
we can
reduce
lower
that some, but let's not do it yet.
Yeah.
It includes the software like Route Match.
Yes.
and things.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not
Thank you.
just Systech.
So can we figure out specifically what is budgeted in here for Systech? Do you have that broken down?
No, we don't have it broken down. I'd have to pull it up in QuickBooks and
Okay,
look and see what we've been spending.
well, we definitely want to look at that by our next meeting probably, because we do
We
already have,
roughly spend about 20, a little bit, like I'd say 2,700 a month with them.
okay,
okay, then the bill I got was actually low.
yes.
We didn't have any extras on that end.
So
It's
we,
it's like 26 and some change, but
Okay.
we just said 2,700, that's about.
It's close.
Okay. Cause we're gonna do the RFP for that and,
We need to get,
and we can give you actual numbers. Probably, well, whenever we put the contract in place, but it should be shortly.
Okay,
Yeah.
If we know what we're shooting for, that would be good. Budget wise.
so all of this other stuff, all this color, I pulled the ridership based off of last year's ridership, because that's really only kind of what we have to go by right now. And I did talk with Crystal and she said that we haven't really lost much ridership.
Mhm.
not enough
With
of a
the,
dip.
yeah. So I based it off of last year's actuals on the ridership. These numbers just help us to figure out how much of the overall cost of operations
Mhm.
we need to deduct from the stiff plan as far as how much is in that bucket and how much we can expend. So if you take the overall cost, which is all the way up here at the top, and you minus the 85,000 for transit contracts, because that has its, we just consider that a different,
Bucket.
yes. So our overall operations is 2,735,638. That's without the transit contracts. We have to deduct our fare box, all of our income and everything right off the top.
Okay,
So that leaves us here. These are federal grant. This is what we get reimbursed for. So this is federal reimbursements. And I have my tracker that shows that for each of those grants, we have that much left for this year. Some of these we might leave a little money on the table because we haven't been using all of them completely, especially this federal grant is preventative maintenance for the demand response. And since we've gotten the new vans and our preventative maintenance has gone down quite a bit.
oh, that's good. Okay.
So, I use this is projected off of, last quarter, kind of,
Okay,
but it might be even lower than that. I'm not
Okay.
Sure.
that would be nice.
So these are the match for each of these grants. So this is a federal grant and this is the match.
Okay.
Where it comes from on the stiff plan.
Okay,
Okay. Now, some of these buckets are, like Cheryl said, we hardly have anything left in them. So I haven't deducted on some of them to account
so if we
for,
don't have the match, can we spend the money?
No,
So,
well,
so that $193,000, we can't spend any of that?
that's where you guys have to decide where you're gonna put the money that can be transferred from other projects.
so if you can, as you see down here, I have a lot of UPTD funds.
So we
Okay.
can plug money in up there.
Yes. So we're not using it out of this bucket, but we're gonna be using it out of our funds.
She's
So,
already plugged in those funds.
And define what-
That's what's, we're spending our reserves essentially.
define what you.
That's why we're gonna have so little left.
Yes, if we
Okay.
don't change any of these. We're spending our reserves.
What is that number comprised of?
It's comprised of our. It's comprised of.
Cash on hand.
Cash on hand, some of this cash on hand is not all stiff. If I look it up in QuickBooks, it'll break it down. Some of this is our asset money that we've had and other. Some of the Bay Cities money is in there. I would have to look and see exactly how that's broken down. I could look it up on my computer if you wanna know what it is.
I think it is important information to have, because it does kind of, it tells us what money is really ours.
Well, what can be moved to where?
Especially
Well,
since
and
that
if it's
is
just
the-
project,
that
you
is
can use
the-
that fund.
So you just.
Even if
heard
it's
it.
It's very,
from us.
it's very
True, but
complicated.
how much of it is actually discretionary for
I do
us
stuff
to
like
be able
that.
to make decisions?
Yeah.
Well, and you
That's
just heard
Yeah.
what Jennifer said, until we have a cost allocation plan, our NEMT income is not out.
Okay,
It is federally constrained.
It's federal state control.
so that's just medical transport.
So out of that 747,000. 36,000 of that is our asset match money. That's what we sold in vehicles.
So we can't use that for anything but purchasing vehicles.
Right,
So it shouldn't be in a bucket that says that
No.
we can use it.
we've got it left here. Cause we're spending 20,000 of that 36.
So instead of having it in a bucket that says that's funding that's available for us to utilize, it needs to be in the separate reserve bucket, which is what we said we were gonna do, is show alongside our bank balance what was in actual reserve.
Okay, next number.
So hold on, that is just for the purchase of vehicles.
These
That
different vehicles.
that can only go,
36,000
Yep.
can
Okay.
only go.
So the 20,000
We're gonna be
is
spending the
allocated.
20,000.
so that bus that we're gonna get,
Yes,
is
comes out of that.
this is going towards that.
Yeah. you get a
Okay.
party bus?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or is that wine
Um,
board?
I'll drive it.
Okay.
I've been trying.
I know, it's gonna be a minute, I think.
Another 36,774 is, Bay City money, is our NEMT money.
And what does that mean?
That means that it is above and beyond. Our NEMT money pays for our volunteers.
So
And that's,
can that only go to volunteers or can it go anywhere?
no, but
Used for
It's
that.
it
discretionary.
can be used for match.
Okay.
And let me see. So 642,000 of 642,090.49 is stiff funds.
Okay,
Is rolled over stiff funds.
okay,
649,094. So we said
642,090.49.
so that's 642,
That includes rollover from capital projects and rollover from operations projects.
okay, so
it
the
is-
capital, do we know how much is?
capital compared to how much is
Because the capital is what we can request to move into other projects, correct?
correct.
Okay, see, I'm getting this down.
I have 315,238.
315, 238. I don't care about the change.
So 315,000.
But you're gonna be deducting that 252,990 for the chargers from that.
Okay.
So there's really
So-
only gonna be,
So you're looking at like,
65,
63.
65, yeah,
63.
61.
yeah, okay. So that's how much we
62
need
and
to
change.
request.
the difference between, yep, after we deduct the.
Well,
So that
actually,
gives
do we
you-
have to request that whole amount? Because then we can use that amount to pay ODOT back.
Right,
So
well,
we actually have to request the whole amount.
I don't know, Jennifer. I don't- we have
Well,
to ask
it's
Jennifer.
already capital.
Yeah, it's already
and-
considered
and
capital.
the-
So it doesn't need to be moved because it's
No.
already in the right
We
bucket.
would just
Yeah.
pay them back out of that bucket, and
Okay.
then we would
Okay.
request the difference.
Yeah.
What's left to go into operations, which
$62,248.
And then you have the 30, roughly 37, so that gives you 100,000 then that you have to
Yeah.
play with.
So
What do
where
you
that,
need for the basic?
Cause we have the
security?
volunteers, that's money we can use, and we have basically 63 that we can use, which roughly is 100.
so what that leaves you with is an aging fleet with absolutely no match money for future buses.
Mhm.
And no match money for any future capital projects. So you're starting over at ground zero,
Mhm.
by,
Yep,
I guess you don't really wanna do that if you can avoid it, but it would be better to start at ground zero than to have nothing.
Agreed.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you know, you
Sure.
kind of have to look at worst case scenario.
Well,
And
and
then-
hold on though, but this is also taking into consideration that we have $250,000 sitting in our basement, actually more than that.
Yep.
Right.
280,000 sitting in our basement and we need to
Sell that.
sell
Yeah,
them.
Right,
Do someone
that
know?
is a huge.
And as soon as we pay back ODOT, that money is ours to do with what we want.
That's,
Yeah.
And it's free money.
So we are
So that's-
almost, in a way, you
that's-
could say we're sitting on a gold mine.
yes, so we need to work on selling those.
Literally.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
save the district,
yeah,
sell the chargers to save the
Yeah.
district.
yeah,
Kinda.
that
Because
is,
we should start a campaign.
I was just gonna say, that sounds like a really good campaign, actually. Yeah,
So all of these feed into this very first sheet under the different projects. So when we look at all of this, like stiff one, that
Mhm.
comes from all of those other tabs, depending on which projects they're coming from. Same thing with 2, 3, all of them.
Can you go back to that income page again? Sorry, 747. So the numbers that you were just giving us were out of the 747, 685? Is that correct?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so we're
Yes.
missing 32,000.
We've got, let's see,
Thank you for catching.
no, there's more.
I like numbers,
I
Michaela.
know, you're so good.
I'm like, it's not mathing.
Okay,
You come up with 32,732.80?
So, well, I have rough numbers, so sure, that's close enough. 32,817, so
Okay.
yeah, that's close enough.
So that's reserve that I've put into reserve other than the asset money.
so that
So
is,
that's just free money
money.
to touch however we want,
Yeah.
yes? Okay. Deal,
we like that.
yeah, that one,
We
that's a
like
good
no
number.
strings attached
That's a
money.
beautiful
Right.
number. Okay, thank you.
Are we mapping now?
We're mapping,
Okay,
we're
good.
great,
Okay.
thank you.
That's good.
I might not have given you like the
It's,
change.
I don't
or
need
whatever
change.
on those. Okay.
It was, that's why, when you asked the right number, I was like, well, you're close enough.
Yeah,
32.7 is close enough to 38, 32.8.
okay. So yeah, so we will be using, part of our funds and the NEMT funds and all of that.
Okay.
And I haven't gone over any of these numbers. And I haven't gone over what ODOT says that we are going to project, which is this. For this year. So all of these, if I double click this. It shows, so
Okay.
step 1, 2, 3, and 4. The
Mm-hmm.
rollover money is actually part of the cash on hand. Cause it's already money we've received.
Okay,
So anything that's
For number
rollover,
4, is that what you're talking
no,
about?
step number 2,
Oh, step number 2.
rollover.
1, 2, 3, and 4 only. Anything with rollover is part of the cash on hand.
But we have $0 in step number 4 rollover.
We
Yeah,
have
we've
none
already
left, we've
expended it.
expended it.
Oh, we've already spent it, okay.
Yep.
But that was in there
It was.
previously, okay.
Mhm. As in, and the
Yeah,
5,
5,
step
yeah.
5 was all of the vehicle project. That was the match money for the vehicles and we've spent all of that.
So should step number 5 be 0?
Yes,
Okay,
It is, right?
it's just blank.
this is
Oh,
the charger.
Got
This
you,
is,
the one above.
this is the chargers.
Oh, that's the chargers,
Mhm.
okay, cool.
That's the chargers.
Okay,
Got it.
Any other questions on this sheet? And then I have, this is where I need to ask you, can we use any of the 3.2 to fund any of the DRTF in the Sunrise for Dial a Ride?
3.2, what is,
3.2 is. Dial a Ride.
um, if you scroll down, there's not, that is the only funding source for Dial-A-Ride. And if you actually take the reduction off of that number, which is a 22% reduction, then there's not enough money to run
That's
Dial-A-Ride.
because you're deducting the 30% across the
No.
board.
There's only 22%,
For that one.
22.2% off of those.
Right, but you're still taking it across the board.
Right. Okay, so take that project.
Mm-hmm.
Which one of them are you gonna not take it off of?
Well, we've already spent it all for them on task and over here. DRTF and Sunrise. There's nothing left in these buckets. They're zeroed. We already used them in the first 4 quarters.
I understand that. That was part of my presentation.
That's what I was asking. Can we use any of
That
the-
32,000 that's left over.
Can we use any of this money?
I
And the
personally
3.2.
believe with the information that I provided before that there's not enough money. Unless you're pulling some of that capital money over into there, there's not enough money to
There
continue
is.
Dial-A-Ride for the next 3 quarters. That's what I'm concerned about.
So so the 553,660, is that a real number or is that a grossed up 30%?
No, these are
Grossed up.
grossed up 30%,
Not 30%, 22.27%.
but I am expending this much out of them, which is still leaving $77,000 left in this bucket. So I didn't do it across the board evenly. I did it more off one than the other.
Okay, so. So I don't follow the way that you've put it together because you didn't work with me on it at all.
You haven't been here.
But I have been here. The PowerPoint presentation that I put together, it very clearly showed all of the numbers and where our shortfalls were. But we haven't got a comparison and I don't know what that's gonna look like because I haven't had the opportunity to do that comparison.
So
with
the
these
sheet that I've
numbers.
been working off of, all of these numbers on the bottom here are all, so this is 122,657. This is how it's broken out over each of these projects for the year. I just put it in the bottom line just as a whole.
That's what you're saying is left.
This is what I'm saying we're gonna expend for the year out of this project. Which is about what we have left, even according to your spreadsheet.
So how did you come up with those numbers? Just,
Well, because this one only had 1658 left on it. See, this bottom one is 0. This is the balance. So if you take this
Everything you
and you
spent.
subtract
Mhm.
everything down, it only left us this amount.
so what are we gonna do
Okay.
for quarter 5, 6, 7, and 8?
But this is for the whole year. There's not a lot left. We're gonna have to use UPTD's funds.
Let me open the PowerPoint. It's not there. I need to actually open it.
Might have to share it too, because it's not shared. I believe that you're plussing up and all of your numbers makes it very hard for them to understand. Because it even makes it hard for me to understand what you're doing.
Was that 819?
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know how that was. One meeting. That was a meeting.
I can't remember. August was the.
And the board didn't get posted, did you see that?
Why did we go?
She sent.
It's hard to
an
show,
email
it's hard for you guys to follow this when you have to, and you're not used to learning.
And it didn't go back, okay, but they don't do it on Fridays,
So we have to put them out another.
at least another, yes. Cause it hasn't gone in today.
Yeah.
So I think Cheryl, board posting you're thinking would be by Wednesday, is that accurate?
I'm sorry, what?
Board positions posted to the news review.
Okay, so
Oh,
that makes me feel.
board positions.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
That makes
actually,
me feel better.
I don't know, Thursday or Friday. I'll have to.
Okay, Thursday or Friday, okay.
Okay, so we'll just push that another week.
That's really funny.
Mondays are great for board.
So when you look at each one of these,
Just wanted to make sure.
Oh, well, that's fine. It'll give us more time to take.
in addition to that number, that stiff number already being expended, completely expended, the rest of the match funds was listed as other state. And so this project, and in my opinion, is already $11,000 in the hole.
Mhm.
It's, and we've got 4 quarters to go on it. So there has to be a determination of what money is going to go
Cover
there.
that.
Yeah, what is the
It's gonna be our
allocation
funds.
gonna be?
So can you just explain to me really quickly,
Mhm.
why are we so far over what we budgeted for this right now? I know that we had a 30% plus up, but this seems like even,
That's not 30%.
right, that seems like way
Oh,
more than that.
this is because of Reedsport, right?
No,
Oh, this one's not
No.
Reedsport, oh.
no, so this is, we expended as if we had $42,000 sitting in this bucket. But in actuality, we only had $29,000 sitting in this bucket. So you can say we could just transfer money and just keep spending the way that we are. But we have to
Yeah.
identify what bucket that money is coming from.
Shouldn't
so
that
that
have
we
been
can-
Still
eight
not answering
quarters,
Michaela's
Yes.
question.
So we
Well,
still,
and no, because this allocation was only for 4 quarters. Because the STF funding that was supposed to have rolled forward
Got it.
And we
was
didn't
supposed to be
have-
for the other 4 quarters.
Got it.
And so
what happened to that money?
it was expended before we started the plan.
Okay,
So that money never existed.
We've
Not for
been
this plan, no.
running kind of like a lot of households run.
Where you, at
Which
the
is
end of the month,
not
you
really,
figure
yeah,
out what
just kind of,
happened.
it'll all work out.
And
I
it
mean,
is.
it feels like, you know, and here again, it's
Here.
not being judgmental, it
No,
just feels
it-
like.
You know,
Too much at the end of the movie.
it's been a learning experience for darn sure, and it's unfortunate that it's come to this level. But this is our chance to save the ship.
Right.
But we have to look at it kind of project by project. You can look at it as a whole, but you have to look at every single project. How much was expected to be there?
can you go back to it just really quickly? Sure, the other one. What are we spending this money on?
The call center, this
Sure,
one.
but what
specifically.
is the cost of the call center? You're talking about staff, you're talking about
Is it rent?
software.
Some
Materials and
rent,
services, all of that, yeah.
some utilities, do
So-
we expend utilities to the call center? Okay.
So
Well, I don't know.
Here's the
that
call
might
center.
be-
Look at all the costs. Really.
Here's the call center.
Do
Call
we
center
have,
is 106,255.61
For 2 years
for
or what
one
is
year,
that? Thank
for
you.
just this year.
Thank you.
This is just this year.
So, and my understanding is that our call center isn't really even operating the way that we would like it to, right? We have software that's not either
Yeah.
user friendly, we have queues that are not working.
It's
Accurate.
a mess. I
It is a
mean,
mess.
we're missing calls, which is missing rhymes,
100%.
because our queue isn't working because it was never set up right.
So one thing that I would like to see is I would like to see the telephony report for our call center, because if this is $106,000, okay. If this is $106,000 that we're spending every year, and we do have phones that aren't working accurately, if we have all of that, I think there's an opportunity here to look at what is the cost driver and
This can't be
whether
a
or not we
yearly
can make any
number.
cuts for the next year.
This can't be a yearly number for the call center.
Yeah, it seems like a lot.
No, when
Seems
you've
awful low to
got.
me.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
See,
it-
but, yeah,
Oh, it is
supervisor and
staffing?
4
Yeah.
It
people in
should,
there.
yes.
But is it all of the staffing or is that included under admin? I thought she said.
No.
There's a portion of the supervisor that gets under any, and then
Any MT?
Right, but if we're, 10% of her goes to an EMT or something along those lines. Maybe
You
even
literally can't manage
30%,
it.
but
Yeah.
that's still, that's not a year's worth of. That's a quarter's worth of call center.
way to manage money.
I,
Okay, so
see it. As it
relates.
right.
You pulled up the Q4 reports,
you just.
oh. How did they do that?
similar but different.
But you can present.
This is Q4. There's another one that
Uh-huh.
is
Like you.
How did that get opened?
I had it open to
Oh.
show how we came to
I'm like,
the
that's,
projections.
okay, here we go. Okay.
So there's like.
Okay, there's
Okay,
better.
here we go.
I'm like, you're freaking
Wait,
out.
so
I think
This is a different number though.
Yes.
Yeah,
because
that's a
I had
big
a-
number.
She had another
Q4.
report open and I
It
thought
was
we were
only
on.
quarter four.
Yeah.
This is
Oh, only
actually
quarter.
the year.
Okay,
Oh.
well, this is actually better. Good, we have more money to work with here.
Well, yeah, it makes more sense, yeah.
Okay, so what is included in that?
So.
So this
It's
is the call,
mostly
this is the
staff.
call center supervisor, but a portion of her. Wage goes to the NEMT program. Right. These are the dispatchers. And then these are the payroll taxes, fringe and. All of that associated with them. Then you have all their
Other stuff.
other stuff.
Well, I'm interested in the IT maintenance and software because
Yeah.
just from doing the little bit of talking that we've done with employees here, it sounds like that's not working very
Functioning.
well for them. And if we're
None of the software
Investing.
seems to be.
$36,000 into it, I think we might have an opportunity there. So. And the rest of it, I don't know what else we could do.
Yeah, this
How many,
is-
how many
This is
people
route
are in
match
the
and
call center?
we've got
Four and a half.
three and a
4.5.
half dispatchers and then Selena.
Okay,
What does route match cost?
So is it 4.5 or is it 4? It's really like 4.4, right? Because one person is only 90%.
One person, right, one person is 90%, one person is
4.4.
half.
Oh, another person.
No, one person is 70% and one person is half.
Oh, okay.
Sherry, what are we paying for route match?
There's 5 people total.
Got it.
One is at 70% and one
One is
is
at-
at 50%. Sharon,
Yes.
They're short.
Let me look up route match really quick.
So they don't. Depending on route match.
No, it's
We're
because they're
saying-
split.
one is
So
split.
Yeah, one's like 50%.
is route match part of this?
But in that number.
One's
yeah.
a 20-hour shift, Ben.
Yeah.
One's a
Are
20-hour
they,
shift.
are they
One
not getting
is
full
split
benefits?
between two different.
The part-time one is not getting. full-
Yeah, the part.
Sherry, is route match in here or in operations?
Route match is in here because it's a call center. It's
their heads.
it's for the
Okay.
demand response and the crib traffic.
Fine, I'm fine.
Yeah, like.
So
Fine.
this
And there is no
year,
opportunity to move that into
You
operations,
counted your, this, like, this way, the.
just because we have more freedom with our
Yeah.
operations money. That is coming from.
but we do have it built into the grant for call center. So the call center has its own grant.
But we
as
don't
well.
have any money left in it.
In the match portion,
Okay,
but in the federal grant portion, we do.
okay.
Yes, so the match is what the problem is, and that if you. Give me that. Let me see. If you look at the match for the call center, we need about 45,000 to finish the match out for this year.
It was an ops too.
And we have 0 left, or negative, so we need 59,000 for the match
And
on
I
that.
feel like I saw Ring Central and ops as well. But that might be a feeling. I'm definitely not dying on that.
We turn the air conditioning on.
Yeah, no
No,
kidding.
not a chance.
Where is it? I'll go.
She's like, I'll push the buttons myself.
It's down the hallway.
It's in the hallway, you'll see it's a thermostat on the wall.
Does it say don't touch?
No.
It does.
That's what ours says sometimes.
Oh, you don't touch.
Probably if you touch it, you get zapped.
No, so what happens is that people turn the AC down too low and then it actually burns out the condenser and then there is no AC, so don't touch it, just leave it at 69 and let it be.
That was about in my office.
68.
No, 68 burns the condenser, Doug, this is
Oh,
the
turning
our
it-
reality.
The ones going through their time,
Yeah.
turning it way down, and
Yeah.
then the smoker whose
I run a
circulation was
nonprofit,
bad
Doug.
would turn it way up, and they would go, each time
I
they
don't know
get
if
it,
that
it would go
works.
farther
Does it take
down and
seconds?
farther up. and
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Yeah, it's the war.
Okay,
It sounds
where are we
like-
at? What are we doing? Where are we
I'm lost.
going?
So we, are we kind of gone too far to be able to address casualties at this point, because we've already expended everything, right? So we're trying to find how we can get money to keep supporting, or are we still at a point where we could
We
possibly?
can use,
determine
we can
casualties.
use reserves and pay for everything according to Sherry's numbers, but we will have
That we
little
were
to
gonna be
nothing,
left with nothing.
little to
So-
nothing at the
We'll
end.
have 42.
And are we willing to have any sacrificial lambs,
45.
or is that
Well,
off the table?
I mean, it's one. We did talk about that we might need to look at the general manager and the operations manager and just structure as a total.
Yeah,
I gave you
operational structure,
one,
we
which
are.
maybe I'll steal back so that I can
organization.
make it for everybody else, but like this is a
Yeah, I
hot
got-
mess.
yeah.
You got that? Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
I'll be
okay.
presenting a new one of those on Friday. To
What's Friday?
this Friday.
Just
Oh.
here?
You're just gonna submit it to.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
that's
like
it.
there's a meeting?
No.
No. No, the work, that's the first,
Oh, you didn't tell me that again.
No.
that's like one of the biggest areas where you can.
Yeah,
So we do
fix
have,
that
we
needs to
do
be
have,
fixed. Very fundamental.
so we have
some hope then.
Yeah, it's coming.
we have possibilities.
Yeah, I'm gonna present I'll present
the
a
chargers.
proposal of that by Friday.
I don't know, say one more thing.
Well, yeah, the chargers are definitely, that I've been all for dumping
Need
the
a
chargers.
professional- You need a professional negotiator.
Well, Cheryl did say that we should ask the tribe. Like, is the tribe interested? That's actually a really good option, because they'll pay.
They have the money.
I reached out, Twelve just got a $15 million federal grant, the discretionary grant for putting electric charging stations at low income housing units.
Oh, wow.
So we'll be,
Yeah.
I started communications.
So-
Awesome.
I guess my question would be, are they universal?
Yes. No, well, you still have to have the right setup for them.
I think so.
Cause I've been hearing, I kinda getting two different
I
impressions
feel
on
like
that.
I heard that there's specific,
But I know
requirements.
they've gotta be somewhat universal, because you can't put in a charging station for every different manufacturer, be able to charge there and have them be vehicle specific.
Yeah,
But vehicles do have specific charging
Can we
requirements.
see the specs on
Right.
one of those? Okay, she's gonna send the specs out to us and we can look. And then maybe we can all work together to try to find a buyer.
yeah. Well,
Like,
that's,
fastest
like
way
the
out.
Chevy has a different charger than Tesla.
Cause anything that we can get for them is gonna.
Why
put money
wouldn't they?
back in our pocket.
Right.
I just, I pulled up
We can have a
the
pizza party.
parking lot at the
Gas
medical
pumps are
clinic for
universal,
class.
I'm sure, I'm sure they're all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think.
there's a charger right there that's metered. You just-
well,
I
that big
feel
parking lot.
like I was.
I don't know.
That's a Tesla.
I
That only
feel like I.
That's
Okay,
the
you guys-
Tesla brand
I shall be
charger.
here all night.
You don't, okay.
All of those, like,
Where are we?
You're the chair, you've gotta rein them in.
I know. I don't have a gavel. I need a gavel.
You need a gavel.
You
Hit
said
your
that
head on
already,
the
you
table.
didn't get one.
hit your head on the table.
Yeah, right. Be a nice little break.
There's no federal standard.
Okay, so,
There's no federal
Um,
standard.
okay, we've gone through this. Are we through ops? You still have more to-
Unless you wanted to add anything in anywhere.
No, we're at 40-something thousand dollars left, and we already went through the call center. What about medical
Everything.
transport?
Medical
That's what it is.
transport's pretty
Done.
easy. We don't have any drivers anymore. We only have the supervisor that 30% of her wages go, so 30% payroll
What are the
taxes.
supervisors? What does she
That's
do?
what I was gonna ask.
No drivers? What
She's
she
a
do?
dispatch supervisor.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Well, if she volunteers, she said.
Yeah, we have all the
Okay.
volunteers is who makes this money for us.
So why do
Okay.
why do we have that money in this bucket?
More work, what?
There's still expenses that have to be deducted from our NEMT income.
Okay,
So these are the expenses, this could go up, it could go down, depending on if we get more volunteers.
Right.
But if we get more volunteers, we get more income
Income
too,
comes
so
in, too.
it,
And that one actually makes us money, so we want more volunteers.
yeah, so we have two
So that
hundred
we-
$58,000
there was,
that,
I'll just fund.
do we know that number is accurate? Didn't we, is this the area where we were having an issue with?
it was when we had the wheelchair drivers that are drivers, when our drivers were driving. We don't have those drivers anymore.
But it was
So what is this
UPT
number?
employees,
It
not
was,
not
Yes.
volunteers.
yeah,
The volunteers are always gonna generate income.
yes.
Okay,
That's one area.
so what is that?
So this
number
is based actuals for the last couple months. But now, like I said, we,
But it's in flux right now because
It's
we
in
don't
flux.
have a long period of time to base that off of. Correct? It's changed.
we could go back and look like 2 years ago when we only had 4 drivers, but we have more
So
than.
we're gonna have to watch that very closely. So that needs to be probably on like a reoccurring agenda item that we're
Good
watching that very, very closely.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because that could eat up all of our money really quickly.
Well, we just wouldn't get it, we wouldn't get the money.
So if you get more volunteers, you actually get more income as well.
Yeah.
They generate enough income to
To
cover
cover
them and give us
themselves.
Okay.
extra.
Yes, so
I
it would
see what you're
actually,
saying.
it would actually just increase our reserves,
It would
More.
increase our reserves.
Okay.
which would be great.
Okay.
Balances each other out. It's like in our favor.
It's like in our
So
favor,
the
yes.
problem was why this used to be a problem was because of the wheelchair.
The wheelchair,
And
and
that
they
will
were.
no longer be a
It
problem.
was
That's
all
not-
comboed into one thing,
Okay,
yes, and now it's been, and now it's been.
Those
eased
3
out.
drivers have gone away. We don't have any expenses for vehicles or anything like that. The only expenses we have now are the volunteer driver mileage. This is where we padded in that 5,000 for. The
yeah, and they used some of that, I heard, where they just had it cookout.
they had a little cookout. I think it was a couple $100, yeah.
That's good.
And then supplies sometimes, the drivers, especially if we get a new driver with a new vehicle, we have to get like no smoking signs and things that Bay Cities requires them to have in their vehicle for inspection.
Mhm.
So, we just bought some stuff, but this is they don't do a lot, so I just projected based off of kind of an actual rate.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is the expense, this is the income that we get, from page 1. And so that's what was left as reserve.
Which we then spend in other areas.
Yes,
Yeah, and then we've spent it and we have how much? Where's our final number?
It's not good.
$45,000.
That's exciting.
Well, $45,000 plus
Chargers.
250.
Yes,
So-
yes, yes, yes.
Drew, for some
Which actually
reason,
isn't as far off from our existing, well, no, it's.
to be completely transparent, Drew projected this, and I'm not sure, and he said ODOT. He was projecting this for this year, but I'm not quite sure where he got that number. Because this is the number that was just published last month on ODOT's stiff plan page,
Oh, okay.
Well, it may
So-
have just been a loose projection that was wrong.
maybe.
So if
So,
Drew's
If
projection
Drew's,
is
we
correct,
would be in a negative,
that's scary.
yeah. But
Wait,
And
we would
Drew's
be
not here, right?
negative, hold on,
we'd be negative 102,000 because
That
it
was
would
before,
offset with
wasn't it?
this.
wait, no, click back on 102. Did that change? Oh, it did change with our ending balance. Okay,
Mhm,
cool.
It did.
So that was less negative.
Yeah, it's basically the projection that I got off the website minus Drew's minus that is. We would be a
So-
negative. But
Which, once again, with the Chargers, we wouldn't, but we'd have
Right.
no money in the bank and that's winning.
Well, we don't.
But like, I don't know where he got that number from. So,
So I don't know if you guys, do you feel comfortable walking away with a potential negative there? I mean, I feel like we have to at least look, I mean,
everything's projection though, honestly. Everything's a projection at this point.
I don't wanna be projected negative.
When you look in Optus, that is the balance that we have
Oh.
left in Optus.
Is that something you gave us? Cause I feel like
Right.
those numbers look like something I
that's-
have.
The balance that is planned. We're not gonna get that much. That's how much they paid
The
us.
2.4, what number are we arguing about?
That's how much they paid us, right?
The 2.4? What number?
Yeah.
That's how much we've been
2.4.
paid, which it says it leaves a balance of 1.4.
So you're saying it's $400,000 less? Is that what is that what you're trying to say? Okay, that's what I thought you were trying to say.
Is that
Required?
or required?
Or maybe that includes.
I don't know,
this
where are you?
quarter Already.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
talking about the same thing, is it
That already,
requested or
because that's,
required?
that includes the first quarter of this month,
Those-
of
I'm
this,
pretty sure that means required.
that,
I don't know.
Requested.
Oh, dang.
that one
Those
point
mean
four,
things.
that 1.4,
You add the 396.
Yeah.
And the 72.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
Okay, so it is back to Drew's number.
no,
It's your number?
so what was the number, Cheryl? Equal,
1439561 dot runoff. I don't know,
That's it.
I don't know if
Okay.
it's zero, I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
it just dies.
plus, what did we just get?
Uh,
395?
396, 215, 396, 215, and 72, 502.
19, so
So-
it's actually over, yeah.
I like
So-
that number.
Yeah.
So we could come in a little higher, but the projection off of ODOT's website right now is 1,872,000.
And that feels like an appropriate number.
So we received more than that for the first quarter, but that's because we had $132,000 reserve, something that they paid us of.
what is, okay, the amount that we get, is that based on what ODOT wants to give us or based off of what is on their
It's
website?
based off of, their projections, I believe, are based off of what they are actually seeing coming in as far as taxes and payroll.
Yeah,
and
they
all
said
that.
that.
It's the same
it
thing
runs
that
about
they
6
do
months.
the projection for,
Mhm.
okay. But that the legislator uses to build their budget. Okay, got it.
So can you scroll down now so I can see that? Oh, it's still at
The
45.
budget forecast, those were the words I was trying to articulate.
Okay. Okay, so,
So if we touch nothing, and everything goes 100% to plan,
So.
at the end
yeah.
of the year, we will have $45,000.
So, yeah,
Plus the sale of the
here,
shutters.
here's all the income, okay, 1,460,606, that includes what we had cash on hand. That's here, and then the expenses come off of all those other sheets,
Uh-huh.
that's here, and then that's the difference, so.
okay.
Okay,
All right. The requested action on here, so we're staying on track. Review project by project, task by task to determine how much funding is required for each task within each project. And what the actual shortfall will be without course correction. Determine funding source and amount for DRTF, Sunrise and Reedsport contracts. When satisfied, a motion that declares the funding type being replaced with the alternative funding source for each contract, the funding type is decided by the board.
So DRTF needs 15,000 to come from another project.
Which will either be
Like Mercy.
Mercy funds or Mercy.
And then Sunrise needs 12,000.
and I need to abstain from this vote.
And
And
those are included in my projection
Okay,
already.
do you have, I think you have to declare it, hold on.
Whatever I need to do, I need to vote.
Okay, so,
how much is left in the Reed's one?
On this one, there's nothing.
Reed's part.
Oh.
where's our conflict of interest stuff in here?
30,000, 117.
Oh, here we go, got it.
It's
All right, we
For-
are in bylaws, section 10, under voting.
That number has to be
10F.
No, because you're
Oh,
still,
wait.
you're still with, if we use these
Yeah, maybe I'm not
numbers
abstaining from anything yet.
on each of these,
Right.
that's 122,000. We're still only spending the 580,006. We're not spending 800 and whatever. That's leaving 254,710, which is the difference.
Which one is, okay, Mercy is number 2.
Mhm.
So then are we talking about taking the 15,000 from the 27,000 from, that was Mercy?
For which one?
15,000 for DRTF.
The 15,000 for DRTF and the 12,000 for Sunrise.
Mhm.
That's what I was asking you over here. Can we use any of the funds in the 3.2? Or do we have to use our UPTD funds?
Why would we do that when we can use the funds that are right there in point 2?
You said that we were already in the negative.
You're telling me we're not.
Okay, can we pause for just a second? Because she has a conflict of interest to disclose, so I want to read this really quickly. So bylaws, section 10F, in the event of an actual or potential conflict of interest by a board member, they must inform the rest of the board and publicly announce to disclose the nature of the conflict in each meeting when the subject matter in which the actual or potential conflict is the topic of discussion prior to abstaining, discussing, recommending, voting, or taking action on any issue, ORS 244.020. If it is a potential conflict of interest, the board member may participate in the official action once the nature of the conflict has been announced. If it is an actual conflict of interest, the board member must recuse themselves to the audience area of the meeting until the decision has been made by the rest of the board.
Sit right here.
The board member with the actual conflict of interest shall not be involved in the discussion or voting of the issue at hand, ORS 244.1202A. If the vote of the board member with a potential or actual conflict of interest is needed to meet a requirement of a minimum number of votes to take official action, the board member may be eligible to vote, but not permitted to participate as a public official in any discussion on the issue out of which the actual conflict arises, ORS 224.1202B. All right, so we need to determine if it's an actual or a potential conflict.
UHI is in conversations with someone, with Sunrise. To potentially become a single nonprofit. It's still in lawyer land, so it's not a done deal. It has moved forward for about, I think since April. Since April, so it's still in movement, but it is moving, so at some point. UHI and Sunrise would be probably a different entity. A different entity would govern both.
And what is the financial impact to you personally?
$12,000. Personally, nothing to the agency that I run. Because I would be the executive director of both.
I don't believe that meets the standard of an actual conflict.
I just want to make sure it's
but
disclosed so that
Yeah,
everybody's aware that
I'm gonna pull up ORS really quickly, if you don't mind.
I'm fine. I just want, that's why I
Yeah,
said
I
it,
don't
because I want to make sure that it doesn't add anything to my pockets specifically. But
So, and there would be no potential additional advancement or anything like that if we. No, okay. Doesn't sound like an actual conflict. I think it's just potential.
I agree. But
I've seen much worse go ignored.
I know, but that's not how I play. I'd rather disclose and have it be on the table and then.
Honestly, my very first meeting, I think I did the
I
same
didn't-
thing.
you're like, well.
I was like, just in case. Yeah.
You wouldn't survive very long in DC.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, so
I was gonna say, I've seen it, like, in our state legislature, people give a direct conflict of interest, like, no, you're good, and then they move forward with the vote.
Okay, so this is the definition of an actual conflict of interest, 244.0201. Actual conflict of interest means any action or any decision or recommendation by a person acting in a capacity as a public official, the effect of which would be the private, pecuniary, how do you say that, benefit or detriment of the person or the person's relative or any business with which the person or relative of the person is associated, unless the benefit or detriment arises out of the circumstances described in subsection 13 of this section. So you would not be financially benefiting
No.
from this decision.
Would it say the business too, though?
Well, even if it's business, I don't own the business. I'm the
Okay.
executive. I'm
Any
I'm a
business with
employee
which
of
the
business.
person or a relative of the person is associated.
Maybe.
It's land of maybe.
I think,
Gray zone.
I think it would
You're on
probably
the side
be
of
safer
caution.
if you abstained, but we can take a vote on it if you guys want.
That's the safe. That's safe.
I think it's safer. Do you want to abstain?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. That just makes it easier.
It's those little gray areas that always say that.
We're safe then, so, okay. All right, so only about Sunrise. You're-
Right.
Okay, so she's just abstaining from any discussion about Sunrise.
So if we're not taking a 30% reduction to make the number the correct number, and we're just going by what's been expended, and that's the balance that's left, then that shows that there's $27,000 in the Mercy bucket, which could be split with 15,000 going to DRTF and 12,000.
Okay, but hold on, we only have $122,000 left of that bucket. If you take, this is off of your own spreadsheet as well. We started out with that. What we're really getting is that,
Right,
the difference between the two is this,
yeah,
and we've already expended. Whatever that was, I take it off again. We've already expended $457,000.
right.
That only leaves us $122,000. So if you're wanting to put DRTF and Sunrise over here, that's gonna increase that. That's gonna increase this number. If you put 15,000 and then you put 12,000 here,
And you zero,
then you've spent 149,000. You've overspent.
you're
You're gonna
taking it
zero
out
out
of 1.2, which is,
Okay, it's gonna be the same. So we're gonna go equals, and we're gonna go plus 15,000. Plus 5,000.
That's the minus. That you were taking it. Oh, I got you.
She doesn't want
I
to see it.
tracked it. I got you.
You're still at 149,000.
Wait, are you guys?
Okay.
Because you're not voting.
Oh.
back to what you had in 1.2.
You had
Who?
Yeah. You want to take a break for a second?
Okay, so down there in the blue line, you're showing a balance of 27,000.
I get that, but
Just
you
like-
only as
Well. technically
in
you
that
can't
project
call
as a
in.
whole, you only have $122,000 left to spend.
What I'm saying is
Well, I got-
that
that's all I
there is
got,
a
bud.
plan.
Well, we
that
still
was
have
approved
quorum.
by the
Yeah, we
ordinance
got- we
committee
still got-
we can't take a vote.
We gotta vote on
That
this.
says that we are going to
We
use
said-
these funds for these projects.
But if we're
That
not
can't-
going to
but I
get
can't
all
follow.
of it.
Oh, on the Sunrise
Which is
part.
exactly my point, why I wanted to go through task
Right.
by
I would
task
then
and determine
Figure out.
where are we going to
This is
take
why we
those.
need 2 more people on the board.
No.
ASAP. We're having a problem. Because he needs to go and she can't vote on this thing and we will not have quorum if he leaves, so we need to figure out what we're gonna do with this money quick.
Okay, so what I was saying is the STIF funding. There is a plan that we put forth that went to the Oregon Transportation Commission that was approved through them and forwarded to ODOT. And we stated that this is what we were gonna do with these projects.
Okay,
Okay, so that Mercy project. It's not that we have 122,000 to just spread through these projects. We have to determine where are we going to make up for each one of these. We have to state where that money is gonna be transferred from. We can't
Okay.
just use it and say this is for this.
okay, so.
So if we have 27,000 left in Mercy, that is a project that is not being utilized. And then you've got 15,000 and 12,000. That kind of looks like 27,000 to me. That would leave $101 left in the Mercy bucket. And it
Then you're
would
gonna
make,
have to decrease one of these
it,
by $27,000.
I'm at a loss. Where have you spent the 27,000 if it's not actually in that bucket?
You can
What?
put it in here. You only have $122,000
Total to spend.
total to spend.
So
I-
put
I-
zero,
I've
put
got
zeros
that.
in those buckets, or in those two, put zeros where the.
Here,
Yep,
Mhm.
because we have a whole nother year for these.
Right,
So
and
she's wanting to add the 27,000.
no,
over
I'm
here.
wanting to take the 27,000 from 1.2.
Right.
And put it
And I just
into
did that.
1.4. Yeah, but you're not zeroing 1.2.
yeah,
So
take that money,
literally just take that money out.
it
is
was,
what she's
take that money, cut it out of there.
There, it's down to $101 now.
Right,
Right.
but why is it increasing that number over there?
Because it's adding all of them straight across of what you're spending out of every bucket.
Okay, but you're telling me that there's,
She wants you to take the money out of that bucket and
The-
put it in a different
the
bucket.
buckets are supposed to be, that's what's left in 1.1, that's what's left in 1.2.
Mhm.
So why is it a balance of 27,000, but then when you reallocate it, it's 37,000?
honestly.
Because I had 10,000 originally allocated in that.
To what?
I'm sure.
Probably it might be part of, I'd have to go back and look at my.
know what
Nothing
they are, but
has
I'll
been
find them right now.
expended out of that bucket.
It is.
And that's not a decision for us to make. That is a board decision because that funding was already allocated. That's what I'm saying. We can't just take it and say, I want to use it
Oh, I
here.
got that.
Okay, then you're already saying you've allocated it somewhere else.
This is a projection for this year. It's not been spent today. Let's see, 1.2.
I want me to just start with those.
Oh, you can send them to me because I've been waiting on them to send them to Ron and he's already. Based off of, yeah, based off of the information.
Any chance I have that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So then if you can send me what you have.
Oh, part of it was call center.
Okay, because that'll help him. I may have already sent it to him if I was talking.
So I had 10,000 in there towards the call center.
Red flag.
But you didn't ask the board to do that.
This is all hypothetical.
Okay, so
This is what we-
hypothetically,
right.
you had 27,000 there that I already in the previous meeting presented as the optimal way is to take it from one project or one task within the project and allocate it to those two
Okay.
tasks.
So you're
To
gonna
make
have
it
to
whole.
decrease one of these.
I'm not, I didn't do these numbers.
I'm just,
I didn't take part in those numbers.
okay.
I
well,
gave you
My
actual
numbers will
totals.
work.
Okay, I guess I understand. Cause I'm not exactly sure. If you're borrowing or if you're allocating from a group that it doesn't having to use it, why does it reflect on the other groups as well when you add to it?
Because she's actually already allocated 10,000 of what it shows.
According to
is
the
there.
spreadsheets that I had up, with all of the ridership numbers and all of that, I was already trying to figure out where we would actually be. So I had to put numbers in so that I could figure out where we would actually be. That doesn't mean that's what we have to do, but if we only have $122,000 left in this project, if you wanna take 37,000 from that one, then
There isn't-
27,000 is gonna have to come out from somewhere else.
There isn't 37,000 left in that one because it was plussed up by 30%.
What happens?
So
if
then
you
why are you
delete
wanting
that
to
number?
add it to there?
What if you delete the 37,000? What is that? What's the effect of that?
Oh, no, I think she's saying the entire
The
thing,
whole thing.
the whole thing, the 10,000, everything. So you have $10,000 to play with, is what Sherry is saying. We don't
Mhm.
have 27,000 to
Thank you.
play with.
But that, now we can see that, right?
Yeah, but up on top, that 42,000 was never actually 42,000. There's a 30% reduction on that number.
And Sherry is saying that she's taking the numbers, she's not taking the 30% off of this, she's taking it from other areas where we didn't expend money.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
But that doesn't, it doesn't give the whole picture. The board is supposed to determine where we allocate the funds to. That from the unallocated or from the unused projects, and then from the other sources to make these projects whole.
So
And
that's
if-
why I was asking if the 3.2 project could fund these two buckets, because was my suggestion to use that money.
So,
Not to use the money out of this bucket, because then that puts us over what we are actually receiving from ODOT.
but it would
Only
come out
if
of our
you're
reserve.
already allocating something from that bucket.
I think she is allocating, she's allocating to the other areas where they're also negative, correct?
But
Yes.
Could we take a step back and not even think about transferring buckets, but think about the reserves we have? And just take it from that? You know what I
Some of
mean?
it-
And,
Some of it I do have already that intention of doing.
yeah,
So most of it is our funds. We're spending 400 and some $1,000 on
Yeah.
our own funds.
what I know is we had to go back and backwards allocate funding into closed reports. And if we don't report what we're actually expending, what project we're expending it
Yeah.
from, then we're in the same
right.
position already. Let me see. Thank you. The report that we just turned in has,
Which included a month and a half at the higher rates. Because we hadn't cut services and we hadn't let go of 5 people.
I don't,
So those projections are higher than what we are going to be doing.
Okay,
I don't have the whole.
we have a disagreement. Disagreement on where this money is gonna come from.
Yeah.
What money exists?
And,
How are we gonna solve this problem? Do we need to step away from this and look at it?
what you guys are going to need to do is ensure that the reports that have already been turned in were turned in after I had, and no.
Keep moving, yep.
So there are already buckets in here that have been over expended.
Okay,
If you draw down the 30% across the board, like she's suggesting.
Which
Okay.
is,
Let's just say we did, keep moving.
so there are 4 buckets in project number 1 that are already over expended. More funding than was allocated to them
okay,
that had. There's funding that was 0 in there, so somebody has to make sure your reports are right, and that's not happening. I. Out of all of the time that we have been doing the reports, there has been one report that has been passed to me that did not have significant errors.
Because you, first of all, you've never trained me.
Okay, that's not,
Yeah.
not now, okay, so. What numbers is the board supposed to use today to make a decision regarding? Do we need to decide of the 122,000, what we're putting where? Or will that cover all of those lines? And is that making any sense?
It seems to me, though, from what you're describing, because we already took the windfall that we're hoping for and spent it, that we probably need to go with that 30% assumption.
Lower,
We have to go because that is the worst case scenario, but that is a probability. So I think the other stuff would just be icing on the cake at the end of the thing. If it ends up being that way, even though I know you spent a lot of time, but it just seems like we already have allocated things and all that kind of stuff, so.
To keep it allocated within the same project whenever possible is optimal for your reporting.
Yeah,
So this is what I wanna know from each of you, is if you had your choice of where we take this money from and put it, what are your recommendations each? I know they're different recommendations. I wanna hear from both of you.
Well, for those two, it just made a whole lot of sense to take it from 1.2. Simple, easy, you know exactly where it came from.
Just
and
no, just say exactly what you want us to do. You want us to take the 15,000 and the 12,000, correct?
From 1.2, yes.
So 1.2, and what, can you scroll up? What are they
Mhm.
again?
Oh,
Sunrise and DRTF.
Sunrise and DRTF.
Move Sunrise and DRTF to where?
Oh, no.
from
Mercy.
Mercy
From Mercy.
EXP
1.2.
to.
Move
Can I
from-
ask a question about the other D, F, I, J, K? Are those all flush? Or do
What-
those have enough
what
to
do you mean,
pay them
the,
for the next four?
Oh,
No,
these?
That's
none
what I
of them
thought.
do.
Okay.
Okay, and City of Reedsport is another opportunity because we are,
City of Reedsport, we need to leave them as much funding as we can. So everything that is allocated to City of Reedsport needs to remain allocated to them, just so that they can continue with volunteer services.
Yeah.
They're not even able to have paid drivers at this point, but those drivers are willing to work as volunteers.
right,
And
but
if-
we're working our contract with them
That's
right
Yes.
now.
But
So
that's,
that is-
I don't have the numbers to put in the contract till we're done with this.
Okay.
So there's our two projects in here that are Reedsport. One of them, I believe is
There's, more funding over
it's,
here.
no, it's right there.
Well, there's 10,000 over here though.
Right, I'm aware of that.
Okay.
But there was. Go to the bottom, please. Thanks. 30,000 left in City of Reedsport.
It gives them a little over 39,000.
And they-
Between the federal, what's left on the federal contract and what's left in the bucket for Reedsport.
But I believe this bucket also needs to be reduced by 30%. Because I don't know where there's obviously a difference between the 30,000 and the.
So you wanna reduce the overall everything by 30%?
That's how I
That's
had
how
presented
she's
it.
doing it.
Go
So,
back up to the
but-
top.
so
Can you
the
scroll up?
642,000,
It was gonna be 834, 726, and now it's how much?
580,016. It's a difference of 254,710.
That's just in STIF funding, but there
So-
was also STF funding that.
Is that a
It's missing.
reduction? Is that a partial reduction?
So that leaves us, we've already expended a
That
good
would be
portion
the
of
full
that,
30%.
400 and
That's the
some
full
thousand.
30% reduction.
yeah,
So
so we're pulling from reserves. We're pulling from reserves to cover those other D, F, blah, blah, well, I don't know what columns,
Yes.
it doesn't really matter, but the col,
Yeah,
all the
that's
other
it.
columns, okay. Okay, I think I'm on your page.
Okay, so
Roughly.
is that it? Yes, so 1.2, we're moving from Mercy to Sunrise and DRTF. And then Reedsport needs to stay
Oh, if they can.
what it is. Okay. Sherry's recommendation, go.
My recommendation is to pay DRTF and Reedsport out of the UPTD funds. And not, and leave the numbers as that you see them on the highlighted ones. Only $27,000. And I've already projected that we're gonna be using 400 and some $1,000s of our funds anyways. That's, would be part of that projection.
Okay, and what does that do to Mercy?
That leaves Mercy. That leaves 27,000 left, but we can't spend all of this money because we're not gonna be getting all of this money. This is what was projected to get here.
So, yeah, but what's that number at the 27,000? I thought that was at the
That's the
580.
balance.
580. Oh, never mind, it goes down one. Never mind.
If you increase this, then you're gonna increase overall.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to
So what
decrease it
is
from
this
that.
balance on the bottom? That comes over to total to 254.
That's the difference between
It,
834 and 580.
yeah, the 254 is the
this.
amount that we over projected.
Yep, so that's what, if you
Trying to
leave
get
all the
to.
numbers, what the plan had planned. We still need to have a balance left of 254, 710, because we are not gonna get that money.
Which is why I subtracted it off the top, so we can come to a normal number, okay? All right, I finally understand what you were trying to say.
You kind of are going from either side to the
Different,
same
yes,
place.
to the exact same, two
Yeah,
different
yeah.
sides of a coin.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
now, has that changed your thoughts at all, Cheryl, on what we should do?
It doesn't matter as long as we're coming up with the same number.
Okay, so you guys are talking about the same thing, but we still need to figure out where that money's gonna come from because we're
Yes.
short 27,000.
And we have to be careful about where it comes from because we'll get penalized.
So
or
my
whatever.
suggestion for. Is to leave the Reedsport whole, because we still, if we do it this way, we still have. The 254, 710 left over, which is what we're not gonna get.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So. If we expend it out this way. We can either take Reeds or
But
Sunrise and
that's for the rest
DRTF.
of the year, right?
Yes,
I mean, that's not gonna be enough.
No. That's why it's gonna.
We
to
have other
come from the
buckets though.
reserve.
Yeah, and we have other buckets. So paratransit can come out of other buckets, and some of the dial ride comes out of other buckets. I didn't build the plan.
I know.
I don't know, I'm just telling you what we have.
All right, what do you guys wanna do tonight?
So either Sunrise and DRTF comes out of UPTD funds, or they can, if they can come out of the 3.2 dial ride services, we can put them there. We have enough.
I mean, Dial-A-Ride doesn't have enough money to fund the whole of it, so if Dial-A-Ride's gonna get money or if that money's gonna go somewhere, it needs to go to Dial-A-Ride.
Okay,
and we were looking at things.
There's only 101.
I'm still confused about it. Are we talking
Well, I
about
don't
just
know
getting
what
to
your
the end
numbers
of
are.
the year?
I don't.
Because we
understand.
also had a major
This
problem
The
with
fifth-
getting,
15
yeah,
from DRTF.
fiscal year, which is
Plus.
July
our-
twenty
And what
twenty-five.
we did
Yeah.
10:30, yeah,
is
yeah,
to
yeah.
Okay.
run
So that's when we're talking
the
end of
rest
the
of
year.
Dial-A-Ride. for the
Okay,
year.
so we're not
And we're
talking
good like
much.
That's what I said, we're gonna
Okay.
either use
Okay, well, that
them
at least makes me
or
feel
a little bit one or the
because
other.
I was thinking, holy crap.
Because we
and we're
don't
gonna have some
have,
other opportunities.
we
on
don't
the
have enough,
organizational chart.
which is
in what
what
the
I was
projection
telling.
and
We
And
can do in.
I agree with that, but we are gonna be using, we budgeted, our budget is based off of
And I don't
actual,
want to.
and it's gonna take
We can
every bit
still-
of stiff federal and our money to make it through the whole year.
So I
Alright.
figure
You can't make a
we
motion
are
for that.
in a,
I know.
Okay.
Well, we might not even make a motion tonight if he doesn't call in, so, but I do think that basically. The hard reality is that we have to have this money come out of UPC funds, right? So that's another 27,000 that's coming out of our 45,000 that we have left.
no.
No,
No.
You already had it.
You already
Oh,
factored it in.
you already
Factored
figured
in.
that
We
in.
already did that.
Oh, well, no,
So
I
we'll
like
just
that
be
one.
rolling in the money at the end of June.
no, we're gonna have
Well,
40, if we're lucky, we'll have $45,000.
But we'll be
left.
feeling like we're rolling because
no.
it's better than zero.
We're gonna rework this a little bit too. I mean, we are talking about organizational changes, we're talking about IT, we're talking
Hmm.
about.
And we're gonna sell those chargers.
We're gonna sell those chargers, we have a lot of things, this is not final.
No, yeah, I mean, it's not as dire as it felt our last meeting, actually. Because maybe I'm being Pollyannish, but.
We have a few months to figure it out.
Well, there's additional information that was provided, because in the last meeting, we were looking at those reserves.
Right,
Or what was expected to be in the bank and at the, because we can't spend them until the end of the biennium when it's rolled forward into another plan. But what Jennifer was just saying is that they can actually,
right.
you
yeah,
actually can move capital
Which
to
is a
the,
big
for
plus.
operations.
So let's talk just really
It's just a
quickly.
rule that we break now.
We have,
I don't know, I'm at my wit's end.
Yeah, well,
so we have $252,000 that we need to return, right?
Yes,
So we were told that there may be an opportunity to put that on a payment plan. If it's not on a payment plan, is it doable or no?
it would really hurt to do it all at once,
Okay,
so.
So-
I would,
We
and
need to make
Jennifer
it
said that we
proposal.
need to do it sooner than later,
okay.
present whatever plan you're.
So what does our proposal need to look like? A contract? Or does it need to just be an email?
I don't know, I guess that would be a question for Jennifer.
I think it's literally an email that goes to Drew.
Okay. Is it
Jennifer,
still on here?
Jennifer, are you still
I
there?
think you're right.
Yes, I am. Wouldn't miss it for the world.
Like that. What do you need from us in the way of a payment plan for the charger payback? An
I believe
email?
Said a
Yeah.
couple of weeks ago that you guys had to do some sort of a letter asking for a payment plan, is what he said.
Okay, and what do you envision that looks like, over the rest of the fiscal year?
I think that's the ask.
Yeah.
That's what, that sounds reasonable
Would
to
it,
me.
could we do it over 4 quarters? I mean, we're still in this quarter, so we could pay.
I think the
send
only
us
thing you
one.
can do is ask. I don't have any power to do
Okay.
anything like that. So that would be something,
Yeah.
whatever you guys propose, they may have a counter for that, but definitely worth trying.
Am I doing meeting minutes for 8:23, 8:29, 9:4?
We should.
Those are done?
I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I doing these? Just tell me what I'm doing.
Maybe.
Giving
Okay.
myself a to-do list.
You don't need us to vote on anything tonight to move money around, correct? Okay, then I think we can just move this to our next agenda. Right?
And then we also have
Well, just to
to,
make the final decision, but
and then I will get
That's
an
not here.
email to Jennifer, asking to move the capital. Funds
Yes.
to operations.
So our next
So is
meeting is on Monday, right?
Yes,
our next meeting was on Monday.
Is it regular 5:30 time?
yes.
5:30 Monday.
Yeah.
And then for executive committee, we have one-on-ones that we need to do with the leadership that remains. So that's you and Becky
On what day?
Monday.
on Monday.
This coming Monday?
Yeah.
So you would find, so this is for
So-
you.
Okay,
We will start at 4:30 and do 15-minute one-on-ones
What-
each.
what
if
day?
that is
On
good
Monday.
For you.
so that's before our other meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the executive committee,
Okay, we
At
need
4:30, you said?
We'll do one at 4:30, one at 4:45,
that
Okay.
they do one-on-ones.
unless
with
you
the
guys need more time.
Management staff.
But we had them scheduled for 15 minutes last time.
Okay.
And then
Is
my-
Jerry drafting both letters, the payment plan and the capital move?
Can you do that?
Again.
Okay,
You want me to?
Okay.
thank you very much. Okay, yeah, let's do agenda build. Then, so we need to move this financial planning work session, this thing,
Oh.
we need to move this to,
5,
yeah,
Mm,
so item 5. So, financial planning.
okay.
Okay, and then we need to discuss the letters.
Okay.
Okay,
Is this gonna be at the regular board
Yep.
meeting? Okay.
payment plan letters.
Is the new committee,
Yes, we're gonna need,
will they have reviewed anything by that point?
that's up to you guys. Or-
Well, I'm not in it.
That's up to you guys.
like not it.
So, but we should have, that committee update.
How did you manage that?
What are we gonna call that?
Committee for
not-
general manager and operations manager.
Employment contract.
It's not
Yeah.
employment though.
No, contract,
Contract committee.
yeah, the contract committee.
Yeah.
So we'll do the contract committee update.
Or you could even call it the ICC, the interim contract committee, the ICC.
Oh, you're good.
Sounds intimidating.
I know, it does.
It sounds really important.
It does sound.
Now I wanna be on it.
Okay, so we'll do that.
What do you, then we?
Because it sounds like it's, yeah, it's an important committee now. I wanna be on that.
Oh, we need to talk about the Reedsport contract. And we're gonna try to get an update.
Hmm.
By Monday on that one.
Okay,
That was already sent over to our attorney, but I don't think we
Um,
got anything on it.
drug and alcohol policy update, will that be done prior to,
Yep, I'll have that for you
Friday?
guys before I go.
will we need to look at it on Monday?
Yes,
Do we need to do something with it?
we
You'll
should
need
look
to
at
talk
it.
to ODOT.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, what about the 5-year plan?
that is something that is tasked to Sherry on that, the action plan.
Okay,
That's tossed to me.
We need to actually discuss the audit. We
okay,
haven't done that
Yeah, if you
officially.
hand me the.
okay,
That
So
would probably
that's-
be better before the 5-year.
what thing?
I'm gonna close
The second agenda items.
Do we? Do you want any?
I already made a list of these things. we
Got
need
it,
on the
okay, I'm like,
agenda.
what's happening?
Okay,
I made the
drug and
changes
alcohol
on mine
compliance,
for
we
drugs.
have
Already
that
closed it.
on here.
Okay,
Reedsport contract is on there,
okay,
interim GM position,
okay,
ops, we have both of those. Okay, consultant emergency assessment update.
Wait, never mind.
And that's going to be emailed to us, so he may not be here necessarily, but we can discuss
okay,
that.
okay.
Oh, good.
And then, charging stations, we already have on here. Well, charging stations needs to be twofold. It needs to be the letter for reimbursement, and it also needs to be to discuss selling it. Which we need to move forward with getting some, I don't know, getting some movement on that.
Okay,
What do we wanna do?
I mean, I want them to just be sold, but
I know.
I have to figure out what that.
I know, well, I think we need people working on it in the
Yeah.
meantime, so I think that obviously nobody has the authority to make the final
No.
decision, but if people want to reach out, like I know you would
Mention the
Maybe.
cred.
Volvo, right? Or no,
Volvo's who That would be
All
if we
those-
thought that they would actually take it back.
Yeah, that's
All
what,
those who actually took over the chair.
can you,
that's part of it.
would you contact them and see if we can return them?
I don't,
CHP.
do you have any contact information for any of them?
Not it.
Okay,
I don't have any contact information, so Cheryl will send it to me then.
okay, perfect. And then, so let's discuss that sale of chargers and the payback plan. Board training, also I wanted that to be on there just as a reminder. Because we have Seaside registration coming in.
So because I'm on OTA
Mhm.
and the planning committee for the conference, I had registered for the conference and made the reservation for the hotel room.
Okay.
So, I don't know that I can cancel the registration because it's already paid,
Mhm.
but I can cancel the hotel room or pass it to somebody else.
Okay,
Seaside, that's the one we're going
It's the
to.
seaside one.
What is,
yeah, I
yeah,
think
what
that's
is
great, because I
that?
was
What?
actually gonna see if,
training?
if Becky
Yeah,
could
but that's it. I was
take
gonna
care of
ask
those for
about
the
that.
board
Is it too
members.
late?
just getting everything scheduled. getting
So
that.
maybe,
Wait, no.
I don't think
maybe
it's
somebody
too
can take
late.
over your.
But
Register.
you need to apply
Is
for
that the one
the,
here?
no, it's in
Oh,
Seaside.
well, I can't go to one, but there is
Yeah.
gonna be something
Oh,
here.
that's,
Yeah,
Within
that's
a week.
That's in a
September
week.
25th or 26th.
Mhm.
A week and a half.
well,
So is that something that we
Oh,
would
So that's,
ask you to sign us up for, or do we just go
Jackie
ahead and
signed
register?
us up for that one,
yeah, I
didn't
think
she?
Becky did.
yes.
Oh, did she already sign us all up?
If you
No.
said, if you said you wanted to go.
I didn't, I wasn't sure, and I wasn't sure who I was supposed to tell.
Send it to Becky if you wanna be signed up,
Okay.
she'll sign you up, and if
Think
we
that-
have quorum, which I think that's gonna be, we have
That is.
quorum, we need to do a public.
Announcement.
Announcement
Okay.
for that.
Well, should I not go?
No, you can go.
Is that?
No, I
You
mean,
should go.
is it,
You should
so
go,
it's better
actually.
to,
It's better to have a forum than,
Okay.
and have us all
Yeah.
educated than not at all.
Yeah.
I can't go to
So
step
public
out of the area overnights or
meeting,
whatever.
The special
my
district
situation.
forum for the board is really good.
Okay.
You still have
Um,
probation?
For training,
For training.
My mom and dad won't let me out of the house late.
And that's.
and then, that's.
Sorry. They have good reason to.
It's the word
And
probation.
we probably wanna check status of the
What about the stiff
Board
discretionary?
vacancies. Yes, well, that's always on there, on our normally scheduled meeting.
But I'm talking about what you're turning in before you leave. Will that be anything to follow up on Monday for us?
I don't know. I mean, the to-do list, I mean, I will
Okay.
forward that to you.
Right.
Um,
So we could just do the, I mean, I don't know.
To-do list is fine, but you have the audit results on there, so we're gonna be.
I have audit
discussing-
results, yep.
Okay, so we're already gonna be discussing that,
Okay.
so that's fine. And then, the only
Hopefully
other
we'll have
thing.
hopefully we'll have the single audit. They said 7 to 10 days and that was last week.
I know, so we're still waiting.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll check in with them tomorrow.
Well, you can put that on there, single audit too, just in case. This is gonna be a ridiculous.
yeah, I was gonna say, this is.
And then-
This is a lot of stuff.
Status of,
I don't want any more.
board vacancies, we just need to double
Oh.
check that notice
Oh.
has been
so
accepted and posted.
I got an invoice.
it is, 9/13 is the first date and it'll go
9/13.
through 9/26
Thank you.
for the 2 weeks.
9/26, okay. So we had a special board meeting called for September 23rd to do those board elections. We're gonna need to move that to September 30th.
Yes.
Okay. Gonna do
I
that.
didn't actually do a notice for that one.
Perfect, so you
Wait,
can ignore.
was that
me
for-
calling
what
you.
is-
So
Wait,
What's that
So-
meeting about? 30th?
will I have access to the website to put
Yeah,
all the
we have
thingies on that
to-
I need to do?
It'll be a
the
very quick
thingies
meeting.
too?
We just need to fill to.
I know it was really descriptive. You're very welcome.
The 30th of
Are
September. we're having
you
a
talking
meeting?
about posting the
And that's for the
board
board.
agendas?
The agenda and
So
then
is that
the
gonna
meeting
be
minutes
5
after that,
o'clock?
like, yep,
What
all
time do you
that.
guys wanna do?
All the,
Yes.
yes, I can.
We can
give
do it
you
earlier, we can
access
do
to
4.
that. Yeah,
4
Okay,
o'clock
and then-
Monday?
Actually,
Will
my
you guys
dog
need help in
is my dad
posting
usually plays
the
bridge.
Oh, that's
notices
right.
on
to
Mondays.
the news review?
Cheryl's gonna give me
But you
a
can join
to-do
online
list on
Okay.
how to do
Okay.
that.
You don't need to be here in
So
person.
I'm not worried about
At
that.
4 o'clock, all right.
You guys
Um,
wanna do 4 o'clock?
Oh, what's happening? Tell me the date. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we're doing,
Monday,
30th?
September 30th at 4 o'clock. For the vacancies, the election.
I am in a meeting until 4:30.
Hey, you wanna do 5 o'clock?
Sure. After 4:45, so you can find it.
if we do 5, I'll be able to be here for.
Okay, let's do
Okay, let's
5
do
o'clock.
5.
Okay,
Okay, so that's
Alright.
at 5 o'clock.
our weekly meeting. you
And
guys.
that is for board elections or for board, yeah,
The 30th.
The vacancy.
okay. Okay, now I've lost myself, so if I repeat myself, you're welcome. Okay, so drug and alcohol, we're gonna do that, that's good. You're doing meeting minutes for 8:23, 8:29, and 9:4.
Yeah.
I'm doing anything past that. 5-year plan.
Sure.
See, I think I already asked these things,
That's
but I
fine.
didn't do a good job of notes, so I
It's,
apologize.
It's on the action plan.
2012 on the action.
5 years.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
have the 5-year plan on here.
Cybersecurity policy, I don't think it has to be on that thing, I'm going through the to-do list.
I
real
thought
quick to
we had a
make sure.
cybersecurity.
We do,
Okay,
and I
that's in
can
the to-do
forward,
list.
Yeah, it's in the to-do list.
I can forward you our cybersecurity policy. It was adopted in 2021, but I probably definitely use updates.
I don't know why it's on the list.
We gotta
I don't
put,
know either.
we gotta put
I
Steiner.
think that RLS said that
Signer.
we didn't apply it to them, so I think they.
I'm
were-
definitely
that was one of
sending
our
this
plans.
draft to you.
Yeah,
Okay,
we need a resolution for that and Cheryl's gonna have to help us with it.
So in the board folder, all of the meetings are each folder for a different meeting.
Okay.
And there are examples of everything in there.
perfect.
There are
I'm gonna
resolutions.
need that.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Title transfer, do we still have the titles to restart?
We do.
Awesome.
No, not awesome.
But we have
Report
report
is
on
supposed to
here.
have the
That-
titles.
That
for
was
Report.
sarcasm, Cheryl.
Report would have
A
the
little-
titles,
it's
but
okay,
there's
a little
no
touchy.
interference.
I think that's it. I think that's all I got, but I'm gonna bug you later in the week to make sure my list is going down.
No, I think I'm gonna work from home.
Well, I'll bug you at home.
Wait, I don't have one now.
Okay. Do we need a motion to get out of here?
I know, what time is it?
7:05.
7:06. We are adjourned.
This.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll spot you, Kathy.
And I'm.
Good to meet you. Yeah, good to meet you.